they passed 190 conventions. Out of 190 conventions, only 47 ILO conventions ratified by the India. The core conventions like freedom of association, right to organize, forced labor, child labor are yet to be ratified by the Union government. With a great labor movement, agitation and sacrifice, labor unions have achieved the basic rights of the labor community. Many democratic countries, including Vietnam, recently adopted ILO Convention 87 regarding freedom of association, ILO 98, right to organize of collective bargaining. Sir, there are two types of bodies. One is industries. They form unions under the Trade Union Act, where in the case of the government employees, they form association under the Societies Act. Now both the bodies demand for betterment of wages, bonus and working conditions. When a worker is suspended or dismissed, dispute is raised, disciplinary committee is constituted. In both the cases, they go to the court, namely tribunal. Hence, there is no difference between union organized by the industry and the union organized by the government employees. However, the bureaucrats stand in the way and not allowing to form union the government employees by the Trade Union Act. When Sri Mallikarjuna Kharge was the labor minister, we trade union leaders convinced him and he agreed for it. But unfortunately, he was transferred. India being a democratic and welfare state, I would urge upon the government, especially the Honorable Labour Minister, to take initiative to ratify these important fundamental and the core convention of ILO at the earliest. I will give you a good name. It will give a good name to our country in the international area. Thank you, sir.
Right. When that government comes, I hope that they remember this suggestion about Khargeji. Sri Prasanna Acharya.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the freedom struggle of India has a very long history, and it is a history of dedication, a history of sacrifice and sufferings. Sir, many a patriot participated and led the movement at different point of time to free Mother India. Some raised their swords against the Britishers, and many Indians followed the way of Mahatma Gandhi and fought non-violently to free this country, sir. So one such freedom fighter, his name is Veer Surendra Sai, who belonged to Sambalpur region of Odisha. He raised his sword against the Britishers at the age of 17 only. And throughout his life, he fought against the Britishers. Sir, we know that Nelson Mandela was imprisoned by the foreign rulers for long 26 years. And it is said that it is the highest period of incarnation by any freedom fighter. But this great freedom fighter I am mentioning, he spent 36 years inside the British prison in 2 phases. And he started his war against the Britishers much before the War of Independence of 1857. And sir, he died in the prison at the age of 74. He was blinded by his captors, by the Britishers. And sir, his last days he spent in the Asirgarh fort in Marnau in Maharashtra. Many memorial has been erected in Odisha in his honor, sir. But as yet, there is no memorial in memory of this great freedom fighter in the place where he met his last, and he was tortured like anything, he was blinded, and his whole family was sent to jail. Many were hanged, many were sent to the Andamans, and great freedom fighter like Madhav Singh was disciple of Veer Surendra Sai. His entire family was also sacrificed. Some were hanged by the Britishers, some were imprisoned for life, sent to the Andaman jails, and this great freedom fighter, he spent his last in the Asirgarh jail, now in Maharashtra. I would request the central government, and through you, sir, and through the central government to the government of Maharashtra, to kindly erect a memorial in the Asirgarh fortress, where this great son of India met his last days under the British rule. Sir, that will inspire the progeny, that will inspire the next generation, that they inspire the younger generation of this country. So once again, I appeal the central government and through you and the central government to government of Maharashtra to kindly consider it and erect a memorial in memory of this great freedom fighter, Bir Surendra Sai. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prasannaji. Sri John Bittas. Sri John Bittas.
Thank you, sir.
Please send the name.
Sir, I am raising a matter which is going to affect the future of this nation. Sir, education is in the concurrent list. The government which harps on federalism takes unilateral decisions in the field of education. Sir, our education system is tampered with half-baked ideas. There is no meaningful discussion with states or the stakeholders. The University Grant Commission recently decided a common university entrance test, CUET, will be held from this academic year for admission to undergraduate courses, and the marks obtained in class 12 exams will not be counted or considered. At a stroke, sir, the UGC has taken this decision without any discussion. Sir, the UGC chairman, who had vitiated my alma mater, that is JNU, was rewarded the UGC chairmanship, and he wants to impress his bosses.
No, please make your issue. Don't
Sir,
make
very
allegations.
important, sir.
That
Sir,
will not go on record.
These interviews were splashed across the media, but the inherent flaws in the system, which were aired by the journalists, have not been responded to. Sir, please consider the issues that are already discussed in the country in relation to needs. So the Tamil Nadu members are agitated. Sir, the issue is that students from the weakest sections are not considered because they don't have hefty amounts of money to pay for coaching. Sir, you want to bring this coaching for the university education also. So there was a raging controversy with a couple of the friends of the UGC chairman alleging mark jihad against Kerala students.
Please,
because we were
you are supposed to talk on introducing Central University entrance test.
Sir, 4 points, sir. Sir, 3 points.
These references
sir,
to the UGC chairman will not go on record.
Please delete. Sir, there are other flaws also. Sir, there is an inherent advantage for those students coming from well-to-do sections. The students from weaker sections will not be having the facility of coaching. So the second thing is that there are verticals of social justice. Think about a student who comes from the weaker sections, do not pass this qualifying exam. I really want the ministers to think about it. This is against the cardinal principles of the social justice. Sir, third important factor is that there is a distinct character for every university. It's not like school education, sir. A student aspires to be part of a university.
Right, Mr. Bittas, time is over.
Sir, 4th point, sir.
Yes, what can I do? You went out of the point and now you want to come to the point. What can I do? Sri Dr. Ammumani Ravadas. That no, it will not go on record. You see, you know the procedure. Please. See, I suggest to the members whatever they want to say, they should say it within the time. We try to go out of the issue and then at the end we come to the issue and we will not be able to do justice. That's my concern. Otherwise, I have no problem. I allowed this because it's an important issue. You know, one point of view that has to be properly projected before the House. Please.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the Kaveri River caters to the needs of more than 22 districts out of 38 districts in Tamil Nadu. And it satisfies the drinking water needs of more than 6 crore population, including Chennai. And more than 50 lakh farmers are dependent on this river. Sir, after a long legal battle of more than 30 years, the Supreme Court as well as the Kaveri River Tribunal gave its final verdict saying that Karnataka shouldn't construct any activity across the Kaveri in Karnataka without the permission of Tamil Nadu, which is a lower riparian state.
Please.
Sir,
You make your point.
Yes, sir, that's what I'm making.
Don't bring the name of other states.
Karnataka government has unilaterally... decided
This
that
is
they
the
are going to
problem.
construct
Please.
a dam called Mega
No
Dam.
reference to Karnataka will go on record.
70 TMC water.
No reference to Karnataka will go on record because you confirm. I'm calling you, sir. I'm calling you also.
Court's verdict, sir.
I'm calling you also.
It is completely
Please.
illegal, and they have also sanctioned
Please,
1,000
Chandrasekhar,
crores
Chandrasekhar,
in that budget
Chandrasekhar.
for a project which is illegal.
You want to aggravate the
For a
issue?
project which they have
Please.
not given any permission, any legal permission has not been obtained, sir.
Right.
Sir, I kindly request the central government to intervene because this is not only a river issue, sir. This is a very emotional issue, and this will soon turn into a law and order issue. We have been living as brothers and sisters for centuries across the border, and we want the situation to remain the same, sir.
Please,
Sir,
these are all not going on record. Why are you
change,
wasting your energy?
Tamil Nadu is facing huge problems of water scarcity.
The issue is only intervention of the central government. That's
Yes,
the
sir,
subject
that
he
is
has
what
raised.
I'm
Only to
requesting,
that
sir.
extent.
Sir, today
Right,
Karnataka
Amavadi.
has a storage,
Right, Amma.
sir, just 1 minute, sir.
Other references to other
Karnataka
states
has a
will not
storage
go on
capacity
record.
Of 140 TMC today.
And I also seen
And
that
if
tendency
the
by some
Mega Dam
newspapers
their
to
storage
say,
capacity
to
is
write
210 TMC.
what is
Tamil
removed
Nadu
from the
got only
record.
storage
Please
capacity
take
of
note
93
that should
TMC,
not be
sir.
referred.
And we are not
Instead.
going to get any
Right,
proper
Amavadi.
water. Already
Right.
only excess
See,
water.
see,
is
Devagowda
coming
ji.
as flood water is coming to
Sri
Tamil Nadu.
Devagowda ji, please. Amavadi Ramadas, it will not go on record. Please, please. This is not the way. This will not go on record. If the member do not obey the chair, the entire issue raised by the member will not be part of the proceedings. This is my ruling for future also. If anybody goes beyond the chairman's this thing, what they said will not go on record. This has to be taken note by the Secretariat and also media. The House has to be run in accordance with some rules, regulations and principles. It has become a fashion for some people, and the chairman says also, still they go on to show that as if they are arguing. And moreover, when we are raising an issue which is sensitive, we should not take the name of other states. It's a simple thing. We are a council of states. We are not here to accuse each other. Only issue will go on record. No mention of any state, any reference to any state will be part of this thing. It will not go on record. Devagowda ji, drinking water, please.
Yes, sir.
Devagowda ji met 5-6 times to me, and he told me also that only he will express concern about the drinking water. That's all. No.
I am only confined myself to the drinking water issue. I am not going to raise construction of any dam, all these things. I am not going to raise. Sir, I know the whole issue and the entire sharing of water, all these things. This is not now I am going to raise. Things what has happened in last 200 years, I know everything, every item I can debate on this house. Only thing is, we have got only drinking water, not only that, the entire Bangalore city is denied by the tribunal, and the same thing by the Supreme Court on the basis of the tribunal, what they have decision was given, 4.75 TMC of water for Bangalore. And I am not raising any state. I am only confining myself to my home state. So the point is, 1 crore 30 lakhs people are in Bangalore. Let anybody from this house, irrespective of whichever party they may be, not concerning this Karnataka or other 3 states, any person as a delegate, let him go and see. And come back to your good self report. The point is today, we are entirely suffering for the drinking water, where to our misfortune, the area which has not been confined to Kaveri Basin, that was the decision given by this Supreme Court. Sir, with folded hands, I can speak volumes on this issue.
Right, please. You have made your point.
Permit us, sir, to have something drinking waters, we are the beggars today.
Thank you.
With folded hands.
Please, sir. Sukendra Sekhar Rai, Sri Sukendra Sekhar Rai, please. Wait.
Your good self
It's
is
an
the
important issue. That's why I allowed him. And he did not make any controversy or comment on others.
Sir, your good self is the champion for promotion of Indian regional languages. So with your kind permission, I would like to speak in Bengali.
Please.
Sir, সম্প্রতি লন্ডন টিউব রেলওয়ে অথরিটি তাদের যে হোয়াইট চ্যাপেল স্টেশন রয়েছে
आपने पहले इन्फॉर्म किया ना, इसलिए वो भाषांतर का व्यवस्था नहीं है.
he is there. I have informed, sir, he is there.
Right. अच्छा.
So
Correct.
লন্ডন টিউব রেল অথরিটি তাদের হোয়াইট চ্যাপেল স্টেশনের কে সাইনবোর্ড লাগিয়েছে বাংলায়, ইংরেজি আছে, ইংরেজির পাশাপাশি বাংলা সাইনবোর্ড লাগিয়েছে এই কারণে যে হোয়াইট চ্যাপেল এলাকাতে প্রচুর বাংলাভাষী মানুষ থাকেন। তো এটা শুধুমাত্র যে বাংলা ভাষার গৌরবকে স্বীকৃতি দেওয়া তাই নয়, এটা 1000 বছরের পুরনো এই ভারতীয় ভাষা, তার যে মর্যাদা, তার যে আন্তর্জাতিক স্বীকৃতি, এটাই প্রমাণিত হয় সিদ্ধান্তের মধ্য দিয়ে। স্যার, আপনার মাধ্যমে আমি কেন্দ্রীয় সরকারকে জানাতে চাই যে আমাদের রাজ্যে অনেক কেন্দ্রীয় সংস্থা আছে যেখানে ইংরেজিতে হিন্দিতে সাইনবোর্ড রয়েছে, আমাদের তাতে আপত্তি নেই। ইংরেজিতে বা হিন্দিতে যদি সাইনবোর্ড থাকে আমাদের কোনো আপত্তি নেই, কিন্তু তার পাশাপাশি বাংলাতেও সাইনবোর্ড রাখা হোক এবং ভবিষ্যতে যে মেট্রো রেল স্টেশনগুলো আসছে সেখানেও যাতে ইংরেজি হিন্দির পাশাপাশি বাংলা ভাষার সাইনবোর্ড থাকে, এটাই আমার আপনার মাধ্যমে কেন্দ্রীয় সরকারের কাছে অনুরোধ। ধন্যবাদ।
धन्यवाद सुकेंद्र शेखर राय. This issue raised by Sri Sukendra Shekhar Rai ji is not confined to Calcutta alone, for the entire country. And for that matter, all government signboards in every state belonging to center or state government, mother tongue, state language, then Hindi and English. This should be the model. Otherwise, people will not be able to understand. So I hope the government will take note of this and see to it that proper instructions are given to all the concerned agencies. This is to be, because it has to be national policy. And we are a free country, independent country.
In the word regional language. These are national languages. Let us not use the word regional languages
This is
anymore.
what, that has been my stand. I said it also.
Let us not use the word regional language.
In the state language where it is situated. Right. They are nodding their head in agreement. Sri Neeraj Dangi. Yeah. There is no senior concerned minister available.
Sir, they keep mum.
Please. When I say something, it will be taken seriously. You don't worry. I'll see to it. Right. Okay, please.
सर, माननीय सभापति महोदय, मुझे इस महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दे को उठाने का जो अवसर प्रदान किया आपने, उसके लिए मैं हार्दिक धन्यवाद देता हूं। रेल बजट 2011-12 में डूंगरपुर रतलाम वाया बांसवाड़ा नई रेल लाइन परियोजना स्वीकृत की गई थी। इस हेतु राजस्थान सरकार तथा रेल मंत्रालय के बीच में लागत सहभागिता को लेकर के वर्ष 2011 में एक एमओयू हस्ताक्षरित किया गया था। एमओयू के समय परियोजना की संभावित लागत रुपए 2082.75 करोड़ जो परियोजना की लागत थी एवं रुपए 180.94 करोड़ जो भूमि की लागत थी, जिसमें राजस्थान सरकार द्वारा परियोजना लागत का 50% वहन किया जाना था। राजस्थान तथा मध्य प्रदेश में आने वाली भूमि अधिग्रहण की लागत को राजस्थान सरकार को वहन करना था। राजस्थान सरकार द्वारा रेलवे को प्रथम किश्त 200 करोड़ रुपए का भुगतान मार्च 2011 में कर दिया गया था और इस परियोजना का शिलान्यास भी दिनांक 30/6/2011 को कर दिया गया था। समय पर कार्य प्रारंभ नहीं होने की वजह से वर्तमान में परियोजना एवं भूमि अधिग्रहण की लागत जो है बहुत अत्यधिक बढ़ गई है। ऐसे में माननीय मुख्यमंत्री राजस्थान ने माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को अवगत कराया कि राजस्थान सरकार बढ़ी हुई परियोजना लागत वहन करने में सक्षम नहीं है, इसलिए रेलवे व्यवहारिक दृष्टिकोण अपनाते हुए इस महत्वपूर्ण परियोजना को स्वयं के संसाधनों से पूर्ण करवाए। हालांकि मध्य प्रदेश और राजस्थान में भूमि अधिग्रहण की लागत का भुगतान राजस्थान सरकार द्वारा ही किया जाना था। साथ ही इन्होंने इस प्रकरण में नीति आयोग के साथ चर्चा दिनांक 6/8/2021 के क्रम में परियोजना के जनजातीय क्षेत्र से संबंधित होने के दृष्टिगत रेल मंत्रालय द्वारा एग्जम्पशन बेस्ड अनुमोदन दिए जाने के लिए निवेदन किया है। अतः माननीय सभापति महोदय, आपके माध्यम से भारत सरकार से अनुरोध है कि प्रकरण में केंद्रीय बजट 2022-23 में प्रस्तावित पूंजीगत व्यय से राजस्थान सरकार के प्रस्ताव को स्वीकार किया जाए ताकि इस महत्वपूर्ण परियोजना को मूर्त रूप दिया जा सके। धन्यवाद।
Sri Muralidharan, Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, I think Sonawal also is here. The earlier issue of signboards in the local language, it has to be made mandatory, and it's not any favor to anybody. People who are traveling, they should know what is this thing. Otherwise, purpose will not be served. Please take note.
Sir, all the directions given by the chair during 0 hour are communicated to the concerned ministers for necessary action.
Right. Sri Vijaypal Singh Tomar. Sri Vijaypal Singh Tomar.
धन्यवाद माननीय सभापति महोदय। मैं आए दिन लोगों को होने वाली परेशानी की ओर आपका ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहता हूं। मान्यवर, राष्ट्रीय मार्गों का निर्माण हुआ है ताकि कम समय में अधिक दूरी तय की जा सके और आर्थिक गतिविधि तेज हो सके। जनवरी 21 में टोल प्लाजा पर जो फास्टैग लगाया गया है, उससे तेल की भी बचत हुई है, राजस्व की भी बचत हुई है और कम समय पर दूरी तय कर लेते हैं। लेकिन नेशनल हाईवे पर तो ये हुआ है, राज्य मार्गों पर ऐसा नहीं है। 1-1 घंटे तक जाम में खड़े रहते हैं और तेल का भी नुकसान है, राजस्व का भी नुकसान है और जो नेशनल हाईवे से हम दूरी तय करके जाते हैं वहां आगे पूरा बराबर हो जाता है। ये परेशानी बहुत हो रही है। मैं आपके माध्यम से सरकार से चाहूंगा कि राज्य सरकारों से बात करके ऐसी उनको एडवाइजरी जारी करें कि राज्य स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की जितने टोल है स्टेट हाईवेज पर, उन पर भी फास्टैग लगाया जाए ताकि वहां आए दिन आम जो जाम लगता है उससे निजात।
धन्यवाद। श्री जौहर सरकार।
Thank you, sir. I wish to raise an issue that concerns the entire nation in the sense that all of you are aware that thalassemia is a disease that can cause havoc to a family. The second thing about thalassemia is that while a lot of money has to be spent by hapless parents for giving blood transfusion to their children, it is they who have passed it on to the child as dormant carriers. Now, this is one thing, a nation that has controlled polio, a nation that has brought smallpox, eradicated smallpox, a nation that has taken so many salutary steps in the direction of health, may kindly wake up to the minimum requirement in controlling thalassemia, and that is insistence on a blood test by every intending couple. We can do it. We are checking before marriage, we are checking the age. We are going in for so many measures. So to control this deadly disease of thalassemia, I would submit. Now, while you can make it mandatory, people can't afford it because it costs between 500 to 1,000 rupees. So if the nation could have afforded subsidization or even free treatment of COVID vaccines, the nation can come forward, sir, in the interest of thalassemia that is affecting and raising havoc to so many families, to go in for a mandatory check through a subsidized center. That's all, sir. You do that and thalassemia will recede into life.
Right. Thank you. Associate President, name Sri Sanjay Raut.
देश की अर्थव्यवस्था उद्ध्वस्त करने का काम पाकिस्तान स्पॉन्सर्ड आईएसआई, अल-कायदा और उनके गिरोह हमेशा करता है। हिंदुस्तान की जो करेंसी है, उनके नकली नोट छापकर चलन में लाकर हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था खत्म करने का षड्यंत्र हमेशा चलता रहा। लेकिन अब इस मामले में चीन भी पाकिस्तान से आगे निकल गया है। एक तरफ गलवान वैली में घुसकर चीन हमारी जमीन हड़प कर रहे और दूसरी तरफ हमारे अर्थव्यवस्था में सेंधमारी कर रही है। सर, कल ही दिल्ली पुलिस के स्पेशल सेल की आईएफएसओ यूनिट ने एक इंटरनेशनल गैंग के 8 ठगों को गिरफ्तार कर लिया और वो चीनी ऐप से लोन दिलाने के नाम पर बड़ी मात्रा में ब्लैकमेलिंग कर रहे थे।
माननीय सभासदों, माननीय सभापति जी,
सभा पटल पर रखे जाने वाले पत्र। आइटम नंबर 2, श्री कृष्णपाल जी।
आदरणीय सभापति महोदय, आपके अनुमति से आज की संशोधित कार्यसूची में क्रम पर मेरे नाम के सामने सूचीबद्ध दस्तावेजों को सदन के पटल पर रखता हूं।
आइटम नंबर 3, साध्वी निरंजन ज्योति जी। श्री अर्जुन राम मेघवाल जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति जी। मैं अपने सहयोगी साध्वी निरंजन ज्योति की ओर से जो आज की संशोधित कार्यसूची में क्रम संख्या 3 पर उनके नाम के सामने उल्लेखित दस्तावेज है, सभा के पटल पर रखता हूं। धन्यवाद।
आइटम नंबर 4, डॉक्टर संजीव कुमार बालियान जी।
आदरणीय सभापति महोदय, आपके अनुमति से आज लोकसभा की संशोधित कार्यसूची में क्रम संख्या 4 पर मेरे नाम के समक्ष दर्शाए गए पत्र सदन के पटल पर रखता हूं।
श्री नित्यानंद राय जी।
मैं आज की पुनरीक्षित काल सूची के क्रमांक संख्या 5 पर मेरे नाम के सम्मुख उल्लेखित दस्तावेज सभा पटल पर रखता हूं।
श्री भागवत कराड़ जी।
सर, with your permission, on behalf of my colleague Sri Pankaj Chaudhary, I rise to lay the papers mentioned against his name in the revised list of business for today, serial number 6.
Number 7, श्री कैलाश चौधरी।
माननीय सभापति जी, आपकी अनुमति से मैं आज की लोकसभा की संशोधित कार्यसूची में मेरे नाम के सम्मुख मत संख्या 7 पर उल्लेखित पत्र सदन के पटल पर प्रस्तुत करता हूं।
श्री BL वर्मा जी।
आदरणीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं आपकी अनुमति से आज की लोकसभा की पुनरीक्षित कार्यक्रम सूची क्रम संख्या 8 पर अपने नाम के सम्मुख अंकित प्रपत्र क्रमांक हिंदी और अंग्रेजी में सभा पटल करता हूँ।
सुश्री प्रतिमा भौमिक जी।
सभापति महोदय, मैं आपकी अनुमति से आज की संशोधित कार्यसूची में क्रमांक 9 संख्या 9 पर मेरे नाम के सम्मुख उल्लेखित दस्तावेज सदन के पटल पर रखती हूँ।
नंबर 10 श्री अर्जुन राम मेघवाल जी।
Honorable Chairperson, sir, with your permission, on behalf of my colleague Dr. L. Murugan, Minister of State, Minister of Information and Broadcasting, I rise to lay on the table of the House the papers mentioned against his name at serial number 10 of today's revised list of business. Thank you.
11 श्री सुभाष बहेड़िया जी।
महोदय, मैं आज की कार्यसूची में मेरे नाम के सम्मुख क्रम संख्या 11 पर यथा सूचीबद्ध लोक लेखा समिति 2021-22 का 46वां, 49वां, 50वां, 48वां, 49वां, 50वां प्रतिवेदन हिंदी और अंग्रेजी संस्करण प्रस्तुत करता हूँ।
नंबर 12 श्री राम शिरोमणि वर्मा जी।
माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं आज के कार्यसूची पत्र में क्रम संख्या 12 पर मेरे नाम के समक्ष यथा सूचीबद्ध सभा की बैठकों से सदस्यों की अनुपस्थिति संबंधी समिति का 7वां प्रतिवेदन हिंदी और अंग्रेजी संस्करण में प्रस्तुत करता हूं।
नंबर 13 श्री भर्तृहरि मेहताब जी।
Sir, I am to present the 33rd report, Hindi and English version of the Standing Committee on Labour, Textiles and Skill Development on implementation of National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme (NAPS), National Apprenticeship Training Scheme (NAPS), as listed against my name at serial number 13 in today's order paper.
Number 14 Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji.
14 na? Honorable Chairperson, sir, on behalf of Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti, I make a statement regarding the status of implementation of the recommendation contained in the 16th report of the Standing Committee on Rural Development and Panchayati Raj on Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin pertaining to the Department of Rural Development, Ministry of Rural Development. Thank you.
Item number 15, Dr. S. Jaishankar ji.
Sir, I beg to move for leave to introduce the weapons of mass destruction and the delivery systems, prohibition of unlawful activities, Amendment Bill 2022.
Shri Kesuresh ji. प्रश्न यह है कि विधेयक को प्रस्तावित करने की अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हवालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हवालों के पक्ष में हुआ। माननीय मंत्री जी विधेयक को प्रस्तावित करते हैं।
सर, आई इंट्रोड्यूस द बिल।
सूचना को माननीय अध्यक्ष जी ने स्वीकृति प्रदान नहीं की है। 0 आवर श्री असित कुमार मल्ल जी। श्री असित कुमार मल्ल जी।
Honorable Chairman, sir, I would like to raise a burning questions about price hike. Please allow me a little time. Sir, countrymen are very agitated in mind at the high price hike of daily commodities. Everyday price hike is going beyond the limit of patience. Petrol sales exceeding rupees 114. Diesel is going to touch 100, now 100. Cooking gas, rupees 926 per cylinder. Where will the price hike stop? I request the Honorable Prime Minister kindly assuage the countrymen by bringing down the unbearable price hike. Sir, please see the matter seriously. Thank you, sir.
डॉक्टर संघमित्रा मौर्य जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। अध्यक्ष सभापति महोदय जी, मैं आपके माध्यम से जानना चाहती हूं कि अभी तक युवा कार्यक्रमों का जो प्रयोजन हुआ था उसमें पिछड़े जाति, अनुसूचित जाति एवं अनुसूचित जनजातियों की भागीदारी कितनी थी, विशेष रूप से उत्तर प्रदेश में क्या था और महिलाओं की संख्या क्या थी और इन कार्यक्रमों के आयोजन से कोई लाभ निचले स्तर के व्यक्ति को हुआ है?
संघमित्रा जी, क्या विषय बदल दिया है आपने? यू हैव चेंज द सब्जेक्ट। सम्राट अशोक के बारे में लिखा हुआ है कुछ।
अच्छा, सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से सरकार से मांग पिछले सत्र में भी मैंने किया था कि सम्राट अशोक की जयंती के अवसर पर अवकाश की घोषणा की जाए, किंतु हमें पत्र के माध्यम से जानकारी दी गई कि एक सीमित राष्ट्रीय अवकाश ही घोषित किए जा सकते हैं। तो मैं आपके माध्यम से सरकार से ये मांग करती हूँ कि अवकाश नहीं तो चैत्र मास के अष्टमी को, जिस दिन सम्राट अशोक का जन्म हुआ था, उस दिन को सम्राट अशोक जयंती के नाम से घोषणा की जाए, ताकि जो भी लोग सम्राट अशोक की जयंती का आयोजन करना चाहते हैं वो उसको अपने इच्छानुसार कर सके, एक दिन सुनिश्चित हो सके, जैसे बिहार में हुआ है उसी तरह से पूरे देश में हो सके। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
मतलब लोचन दास जी।
माननीय सभापति महोदय, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सभापति महोदय, आप जानते हैं कि हम नवोदय विद्यालय का हर जिले में स्थापन करने के लिए भारत सरकार के द्वारा इसके ऊपर काम हो रहा है, लेकिन अभी असम में ऐसे बहुत 35 जिले हैं। 35 जिले में केवल 28 ही नवोदय विद्यालय वहाँ पे बनाया गया है। मैं आपके माध्यम से एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट्स के मंत्री साहब को मैं ये आग्रह करना चाहूँगा, हर जिले में नवोदय विद्यालय बने। और ऐसे भी बहुत सारे हमारे वहाँ पे ओबीसी कम्युनिटीज़ है जिनमें चाय मजदूर भी वहाँ पे रहते हैं, लेकिन वहाँ पे कोई स्कूल की बहुत बड़ी सुविधा नहीं है। वहाँ पे भी रेसिडेंशियल स्कूल गर्ल्स एंड बॉयज़ के लिए बनाया जा सके, इसके लिए मैं आपके माध्यम से आग्रह करना चाहता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
फारूक अब्दुल्ला जी। डॉक्टर साहब, डॉक्टर फारूक अब्दुल्ला जी बोले। आप बोलेंगे कुछ? बोलने जी।
Speaker Saab, can I speak?
Yeah, you can say price rise and house needs to be in order.
Please, can the House give me 1 minute? Please, give me 1 minute. 1 minute. Very important. Very important. Please give me 1 minute. 1 minute. Chairman Saab, there are two important issues I want to raise in 0 hour. एक ये है, हमारे यहाँ 7 हाउस बोट कल जल गए हैं। उन गरीबों का सबसे बड़ा नुकसान हो गया है। मैं गुजारिश करूंगा कि टूरिज्म मिनिस्ट्री उसकी तरफ तवज्जो दे और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ कश्मीर उनको लकड़ी दे कि वो नया हाउस बोट बना सके। दूसरी बात जो बहुत जरूरी है वो मैं आपके सामने लाना चाहता हूँ। JKPSC has served a 7 days notice for conducting main examination through their own rules, mentioning a period of when in 7 days, whereas the main thing is 30 days notice should be given. They have not done this. Secondly, sir, though almost all the states have an age of 37 to 42 for their PSC examination in J&K, they have changed the age to 32. How can our boys and girls have been denied for so many years job? Now when you are reducing their age, there will be many who will not be able to take part. I request Government of India to look into this and their age to be increased as in other states of the country.
सभा की कार्यवाही दोपहर 2 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।
348 माननीय श्री नीरज डांगी जी।
क्वेश्चन नंबर 348 सर।
माननीय मंत्री जी, माननीय नीरज जी।
सर मेरा पहला सप्लीमेंट्री क्वेश्चन है माननीय मंत्री महोदय से आपके माध्यम से, देश में बाजारों में खुले में मिलने वाली नकली दवाइयों पर बीते 2 वर्षों के दौरान की गई कार्रवाई का ब्यौरा क्या है और इन दवाइयों पर रोक लगाने के लिए सरकार द्वारा क्या तंत्र इस्तेमाल किए जा रहे हैं?
आप जो सवाल जुड़ा है करंट प्रैक्टिसेस इन परचेस ऑफ मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट से जुड़ा हुआ ये सवाल है, लेकिन आदरणीय सांसद महोदय ने प्रोक्योरमेंट ऑफ ड्रग्स के बारे में सवाल पूछा है। आदरणीय सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से ये कहना चाहूंगी कि मेन एजेंसी जो ड्रग प्रोक्योर करती है वो इधर CMSS के माध्यम से होती है या CGHS या जन औषधि केंद्र के माध्यम से होती है। सर ये ट्रांसपेरेंट मोड पे ये दवाइयों का प्रोक्योरमेंट होता है और इसमें टेक्निकल कमिटी भी रहती है जो ये देखती है, और सर ये ट्रांसपेरेंट मोड पे दवाइयाँ खरीद होती है। लेकिन फिर भी आपने जो कहा कि कुछ गलत दवाइयों का आपके पास विवरण है क्या, तो अगर है तो मैं आपको सर जरूर अवगत करती हूँ, लेकिन ये इक्विपमेंट को लेके सवाल है जो स्पेसिफिक था।
सेकंड सप्लीमेंट्री मारी नहीं।
सर दवाएं तो बाजार के अंदर नकली मिली रही है, हम लोग ध्यान दें, सरकार अपने लेवल पे भी इसके बारे में जानकारी लेवे। मेरा दूसरा सप्लीमेंट्री क्वेश्चन है, क्या भारत सरकार आपातकालीन चिकित्सा सेवा हेतु मानव संसाधन विकास योजना के अंतर्गत कौशल विकास प्रशिक्षण की स्थापना हेतु स्वीकृति एवं धनराशि जारी करने पर विचार रखती है?
धन्यवाद।
आदरणीय सभापति महोदय, आपके माध्यम से मैं ये अवगत कराना चाहती हूँ कि कोविड काल में ऐसे बहुत सारे क्राइसिस के टाइम जो मेडिकल का इक्विपमेंट हो या फिर कुछ इमरजेंसी हमें खरीदना हो वैक्सीन को लेके, सो ऐसी सभी व्यवस्था तुरंत करवाई। उसके लिए कुछ कमिटी बने, कुछ एक्सपर्ट ग्रुप बने और उसके माध्यम से स्टैंडर्ड को देखते हुए जो कि स्टैंडर्ड मेंटेन हो, इंटरनेशनल लेवल के भी स्टैंडर्ड मेंटेन हो, इसके लिए धनराशि भी आवंटित की गई। मैं आपके माध्यम से आदरणीय फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर का भी धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि लगातार इस कोविड काल में कोई भी सुविधा कमी न हो, इसके लिए सरकार ने प्रयास किए, जो कि आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में बहुत ही सफल हुए। धन्यवाद।
माननीय KJ अल्फोंस।
From the Honorable Minister, whether she knows that the Additional Chief Secretary of Kerala, who is also the Health Secretary, has written to the DMOs and to all the field officers saying that the Health Department of Kerala is the most corrupt department.
Please, not
No,
mention
sir.
the name. Yes, please.
No, sir, this is a question on health
Please.
and on corruption. And if it is not being brought to the notice of the Honorable Minister, will she take action if it is brought to her notice?
आदरणीय उपसभापति महोदय, जो सवाल उठा है करप्शन को लेके, आपके माध्यम से ये अवगत कराना चाहूंगी कि जो सेंट्रल प्रोक्योरमेंट होते हैं वो सेंट्रल एजेंसी के तहत देखे भी जाते हैं, मॉनिटर भी किए जाते हैं और एक्शन भी लिए जाते हैं, और जो स्टेट के प्रोक्योरमेंट रहते हैं जो कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के अंडर आते हैं, आदरणीय सांसद महोदय ने बहुत ही गंभीर मुद्दा उठाया है। जरूर इस पे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से अगर गलत काम हुए हैं, लेकिन मेरे रिपोर्ट में है सर कि नो इंसिडेंट फ्रॉम सेंट्रल हॉस्पिटल हैज बीन रिपोर्टेड ड्यूरिंग लास्ट 3 years। तो मुझे लगता है अगर स्टेट का इश्यू है तो जरूर ये
धन्यवाद। माननीय सदस्य, जैसा माननीय चेयरमैन ने कहा, किसी स्टेट के बारे में पर्टिकुलर एलिगेशन कृपया न लगाएं। धन्यवाद। प्रोफेसर मनोज कुमार झा, प्लीज प्रोफेसर मनोज कुमार झा, प्लीज I have already told, please let him put his question।
शुक्रिया
मैं
उपसभापति।
आपका काम कह दिया हूं, इसलिए क्यों आप उनको मौका दीजिए।
शुक्रिया उपसभापति महोदय, आपके माध्यम से माननीय मंत्री जी से मैं जानना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि स्वास्थ्य का सवाल है तो एक बहुत गंभीर चिंता देश के अलग हिस्सों से आ रही है, खास करके CGHS के जो बेनिफिशियरीज हैं छोटे शहरों में जो हैं, इम्पैनलमेंट का इशू है, रेट का इशू है, और चूंकि प्रश्न संबंधित नहीं था, लेकिन सर आप और वो आप दोनों विशाल हृदय के हैं, इसका जवाब दे दीजिए।
धन्यवाद आदरणीय उपसभापति महोदय, आपके माध्यम से मैं जरूर माननीय सांसद मनोज जी को धन्यवाद देती हूँ, क्योंकि CGHS का एक महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा उठा के भी उन्होंने जो कहा है कि एम्पैनलमेंट बढ़ने चाहिए, तो जरूर इस पर हमारा विचार चल रहा है और लगातार ये CGHS के सेंटर खुल भी रहे हैं। लेकिन सर उसके भी कुछ क्राइटेरिया होते हैं कि जितने एरिया में हमारे बेनिफिशियरीज है उनकी कुछ संख्या होती है जिनके आधार पर इन सेंटर्स को मंजूरी भी मिलती है। लास्ट वीक ने आदरणीय कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर मनसुख भाई ने भी इस पे विवरण दिया था और आदरणीय सांसद महोदय को मैं जरूर कहूंगी कि आपके क्षेत्र में अगर वो संख्या है और अगर CGHS सेंटर की डिमांड है तो हम जरूर इसमें काम करेंगे।
धन्यवाद। डॉक्टर फौजिया खान जी।
Honorable Minister, through you, whether government is aware about the damage caused by the unchecked presence of health service online aggregators pushing aggressively for tests, surgeries, for healthcare services without any medical requirement or prescription. If yes, whether the government is considering to stop direct consumer advertising as suggested by the Consumer Drug Advocacy Group of All India Drug Action Network, AIDAN.
Thank you.
महोदय, माननीय सदस्य फौजिया जी ने जो सवाल उठाया है वो स्पेसिफिक कुछ कंज्यूमर के बारे में जो कि ऑनलाइन प्रिस्क्रिप्शन के बारे में जुड़ा है, तो मुझे लगता है कि इसमें थोड़ा डिटेल लेके मैं जरूर सांसद महोदय को अवगत कराऊंगी। लेकिन फिर भी जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के अंडर जो क्लिनिकल एस्टेब्लिशमेंट एक्ट के तहत कुछ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन के अगर हमें प्रॉब्लम्स है या शिकायतें हैं तो वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट उन क्लिनिकल एस्टेब्लिशमेंट एक्ट के तहत उन हॉस्पिटल के थ्रू एक्शन ले सकते हैं।
धन्यवाद। क्वेश्चन नंबर 349 माननीय शक्ति सिंह गोयल जी। माननीय मंत्री जी, माननीय मंत्री जी।
सर उत्तर सभा पटल पर रख दिया।
फर्स्ट सप्लीमेंट्री।
माननीय सभापति महोदय, बड़ा गंभीर सवाल था। मैं उम्मीद करता था कि कैबिनेट मंत्री हमारे गुजराती भाई मांडविया जी जवाब देंगे। बड़ी शालीन मंत्री राज्य कक्षा की है, उनको ही जवाब देना है। खैर इनका सब्जेक्ट है। मैं ये जानना चाहता हूं, यहाँ इस हाउस में बैठे हुए हमारे में से कोई भी यहाँ हाथ रख के कहेंगे कोविड के दौरान हमें फोन आते थे, हमें डॉक्टर्स ने, हमें गवर्नमेंट ने भी कहा कि ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई नहीं थी और डेथ हुए हैं, ये हकीकत है। अब यहाँ पे सरकार का जो रिटर्न रिप्लाई है, उस रिटर्न रिप्लाई में कहा गया है कि कोविड की वजह से 5,21,358 डेथ हुए हैं। मैं फर्स्ट सप्लीमेंट्री में आपके जरिए ये जानना चाहता हूं कि गुजरात सरकार ने पहले कहा था कि कोविड में 10,000 लोगों ही सिर्फ मृत्यु हुई है, 10,000 एंड ऑड। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि आपको मुआवजा के लिए डिटेल दीजिए, जांच कीजिए। उसके बाद निकला कि 1.5 लाख से ज्यादा लोग गुजरात में कोरोना से मृत्यु हुए हैं, ऑफिशियल फिगर आया बाहर। तो इधर ये जो 5,21,358 है, उसमें गुजरात का कौन सा फिगर है, 10,000 या 1.5 लाख?
धन्यवाद।
उपसभापति महोदय, आपके माध्यम से मैं ये जरूर कहना चाहूंगी, आदरणीय शक्ति सिंह जी ने, माननीय संसद जी ने उपस्थित किया मुद्दा। पहला तो ये है कि माननीय कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर आज जो कॉन्फ्रेंस पे गए हैं तो वो भी एक देश की सक्षम भूमिका रखने के लिए ही गए हैं। वो देश की एक अच्छी भूमिका जो कि ग्लोबल लेवल को भारत को सराहना जा रहा है। मुझे लगता है अगर इस अच्छी बात को अप्रिशिएट किया जाए तो मैं बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ। लेकिन ये बहुत ही गंभीर मुद्दा है और आदरणीय सांसद महोदय ने जो पूछा था कि क्या ऑक्सीजन को लेके क्या व्यवस्था और डिमांड के बारे में, फिर एक बार ये माननीय कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर मनसुख भाई ने लास्ट वीक में और लास्ट सेशन में भी इसका जवाब डिटेल दिया था। मैं फिर एक बार बड़ी नम्रतापूर्वक ये कहना चाहूंगी सर, क्योंकि ये सर लगातार ये मुद्दा आता है, कुछ बातें भी फ्लोर पे रखनी जरूरी है कि यूनियन गवर्नमेंट हैज रिक्वेस्टेड स्टेट्स UTs to furnish the details as asked for. Sir, इसमें से 20 states and UTs have responded and none of the states and UTs have reported confirmed deaths due to oxygen shortage. Sir, हमने लगातार इस बारे में उन राज्यों को पत्र भी लिखे हैं, वो पत्र के भी डिटेल्स हमने दिए हैं। उसमें सर 11 बार हमने ईमेल्स भेजे हैं, चिट्ठियां लिखी है, कुछ राज्यों को रिमाइंडर दिए हैं। सर राज्यों ने देने के बाद ही हम सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट उसको पार्लियामेंट पे रख के बोलते हैं। लेकिन सर जैसा कि इन्होंने कहा कि पहले मृत्यु की संख्या कम थी और आज आपने जो डेटा दिए है वो 5 लाख का डेटा है डेथ्स का। सर ये बहुत ही दुखदायी है, क्लेशदायी है कि एक ऐसा पेंडेमिक आया कि जिसमें हम इस कोविड को जो नया था उसमें डेथ्स के बारे में भी रिपोर्ट करना हो, तो इसमें सर लगातार सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से रिसर्च बेस्ड जो भी आता था उसके नोटिफिकेशन उसमें गाइडलाइंस जाते थे। और तो और सर जो भी डेथ के बारे में रिपोर्टिंग था उसमें भी सर व्यवस्था दी गई कि ये इन्होंने करना है पोर्टल पे। लेकिन सर कुछ राज्यों ने जो कि उस टाइम नहीं किए वो आज भी कर रहे हैं। इसीलिए सर आज आपने जो सवाल उठाया, लेकिन सर आपने गुजरात के बारे में पूछा है तो मैं उसका डिटेल आपको जरूर देती हूँ। सर उसके बाद भी ये एक्स ग्रेशिया का भी जो एनडीएमए के थ्रू माननीय हाईकोर्ट ने जो स्टेटमेंट दिया उसके आधार पर ये बढ़ा है जो आपने कहा है उसका डिटेल रिपोर्ट। लेकिन सर ये हमारे पास आ रहा है, ये जो है रिपोर्ट ये सभी राज्यों से आ रहा है जो कि ये दर्शाता है।
सेकंड
सप्लीमेंट्री वो तो ये था कि आज 10,000 है इसमें या 1.5 लाख, वो जवाब तो नहीं मिला मुझे। मेरा सेकंड सप्लीमेंट्री ये है कि भारत सरकार ने खुद एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाला था कि कोविड से जो भी डेथ होगी उसको 4 लाख का कंपनसेशन दिया जाएगा। वो निकालने के कुछ ही घंटों में तो कहूंगा, दिन भी नहीं, उसमें रिवर्स हो गए और 4 लाख नहीं देना। तो उसकी वजह क्या थी? और कोविड में लोग बहुत परेशान होकर डेथ हुई थी, तो सरकार इसके पुनः विचार करके 4 लाख रुपीस जो भी डेथ कोविड के हुए उनको देना चाहती है या नहीं।
उपसभापति महोदय, आदरणीय सदस्य ने जो प्रश्न उपस्थित किया है, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने लगातार इस बारे में बड़ी ही ट्रांसपेरेंसी मोड पे जो भी गाइडलाइंस है ये दिए हैं। इसमें पहली बार तो सर जो डर था कि पेशेंट के बाद जो इन्फेक्ट होंगे तो उनका क्या, तो वो तो इतना पहला बड़ा डर था कि उसके लिए सर गरीब कल्याण पैकेज के तहत हमने जो इंश्योरेंस दिया जो कि डायरेक्ट कोविड के पेशेंट के कांटेक्ट में आएंगे तो उन्हें हम तुरंत इंश्योरेंस के माध्यम से प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे। सर आज उनका भी हमने मदद की है। सर उसके बाद आप सदस्य ने जो प्रश्न उठाया है कि एक्स ग्रेशिया, सर माननीय कोर्ट ने जो कहा कि इनका डिटेल लेना जो कि कोविड रिलेटेड डेथ हुए हैं, सर ये एक्स ग्रेशिया के रूप में जो कि 50,000 का उन्हें मदद मिलेगा। सर ये सेंट्रल गाइडलाइंस के तहत आज स्टेट के तहत आज जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे जो कलेक्टर की अंडर जो कमिटी है सर वो इसको एग्जामिन भी करते हैं और उनके तहत ये नाम भी आते हैं। सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के नाम आने के बाद ये डिटेल भी दिए हैं। सर ये एनडीएमए ने 50,000 का ये प्रावधान किया है, ये 4 लाख का नहीं है, ये बात क्लियर हो गई है।
थैंक यू। माननीय जुगल सिंह लोखंडवाला।
पहले तो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को, स्वास्थ्य मंत्री जी को और हमारे वैज्ञानिकों सबको धन्यवाद देता हूं कि ये वैश्विक महामारी 100 साल में एक बार आती है और जिस तरह माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के निगरानी के अंदर कोविड की वैक्सीनेशन का जो इनोवेशन, सैनिटाइजर का प्रदान और मास्क जिस तरह दिया गया, मैं सवाल ही बाहर हूं, जिस तरह दिया गया आप बैठे उसी तरह सवाल ये मैं पूछना चाहता हूं माननीय मंत्री जी से कि पुरानी सरकारें जिस तरह ये महामारी, वैश्विक महामारी जो है, जो सुविधा नहीं दे पाई थी, आज की तारीख के अंदर क्या हमारे वैज्ञानिकों द्वारा कोई प्रयोगशाला बनाई जाएंगी या बनाएंगे कि जैसे विश्व के अंदर कोई ऐसी महामारी आए तो इसको रोक सके?
सवाल संक्षिप्त रखें प्लीज। प्लीज बैठकर, प्लीज कुर्सी पर बैठकर आपस में बात ना करें प्लीज। कोई रिकॉर्ड पर नहीं जा रही आप लोग की आपस की बातचीत, प्लीज।
माननीय उपसभापति महोदय, जो सवाल उठा है कि क्या हमने इस दौरान कोविड के कार्यकाल में क्या किया है और आगे जाके भविष्य में अगर ऐसे ही पैंडेमिक का सामना करना पड़े तो क्या इसके लिए प्रावधान है। मैं आदरणीय सांसद महोदय जी का पहले तो धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि जो काम हुआ है उसमें बहुत ही बढ़ोतरी हुई है, क्योंकि जो डिमांड थी पैंडेमिक के पहले और आज ये लगातार अच्छी बनी है व्यवस्था हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को लेके। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हमारे पास आज 3000 से भी ज्यादा अच्छे लैब खड़े हुए हैं। कोविड की फैसिलिटीज में जो बेड्स बने हैं सर, आज मुझे यहाँ रखते हुए 5 लाख के भी ज्यादा ऑक्सीजन सपोर्टेड बेड बने हैं। आईसीयू के भी बेड 1.5 लाख से ज्यादा खड़े हुए हैं। पीएसए प्लांट्स जो कि कम थे, ना के बराबर थे, राज्यों के पास थे वो कम थे, लेकिन आज सर हर एक जिले में पीएसए प्लांट लगना चाहिए, ताकि खुद आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उस पर गौर भी किया और आज 4000 से भी ज्यादा हमारे पीएसए प्लांट्स खड़े हैं अलग अलग मिनिस्ट्री के थ्रू और पीएसयू के थ्रू, पीएम केयर के थ्रू। सर ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर हो या ऑक्सीजन कॉन्सेंट्रेटर हो, ये लाखों में उन स्टेट्स को अलॉट भी किए हैं, उसका भी डिटेल्स अवेलेबल है। आज वेंटिलेटर्स को देखा जाए सर, तो मैंने भी खुद देखा कि पहले पैंडेमिक के पहले क्या वेंटिलेटर्स था लगभग 16,000 के करीब। आज सर हमने वेंटिलेटर्स की संख्या देखी है तो वो 60,000 के भी ज्यादा आज खड़े हैं। तो मुझे लगता है सारी इमरजेंसी को टैकल करते हुए लगातार ये व्यवस्था बनी। उसके अलावा पैकेजेस भी जारी हुए, ECRP 1 हो, ECRP 2 हो, NHM हो या फिर हमारा डिजास्टर रिस्पांस फंड हो, ये अलग अलग माध्यम से व्यवस्था खड़ी हुई। और माननीय सदस्य ने ये कहा कि जो लगातार आगे आने वाले दिनों के लिए तो जरूर PM अभीम के द्वारा जो बजट दिया है, मैं फिर एक बार आदरणीय फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ कि आगे आने वाले दिनों के लिए भी एक 64,000 करोड़ का बजट दिया है, जो कि हमारे हेल्थ को अगेन एक बूस्ट देगा और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को स्ट्रेंथन करेगा, जिसमें ये लैब्स जो कि एक अच्छी लैब की सुविधा भी बने। सर आज BSL 3 लैब जो कि डिटेक्ट करती है कोई नया वायरस आता है तो, लेकिन उसको लिमिटेशन सर ये सुनना होगा। आदरणीय सभापति महोदय, मैं ये जरूर अनुरोध करती हूँ कि क्यों सुनना होगा, क्योंकि BSL 3 का पता ही नहीं है BSL 3 है क्या। तो BSL 3 ऐसी लैब है कि जो खड़ी होने वाली है 4 लैब्स के रूप में, जो मोबाइल होगी कि जैसे कोरोना का वायरस आया हमें पता नहीं था, लेकिन अगर कोई नया वायरस आता है तो वो उसी जगह डिटेक्ट भी होगा और वो कंटेनमेंट जोन बनेगा ताकि वहां से फैले नहीं। तो ये सोच है सर, ये सोच की बात है। तो मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का, वो आगे की सोच को देख के इस तरीके के एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी को ला रहे हैं। मैं धन्यवाद देती हूँ।
माननीय जवाहर सरकार जी, माननीय जवाहर सरकार जी।
I want to ask one straight question.
Please put the question.
Every time we ask such questions, they say health is a state subject. Death is a state subject. Life certificates are given by somebody else's picture. मैंने साफ समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि is the division between death and life, between good and bad, according to the federal system, to the states and central?
Please question.
What is all?
Please question.
Every time in education
Please
also you say the same.
Thank you.
So give me a straight answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
आदरणीय उपसभापति महोदय, ये बेसिक क्वेश्चन है और ये बेसिक क्वेश्चन जुड़ा होने के नाते हेल्थ इज अ स्टेट सब्जेक्ट है तो ये गलत नहीं है सर। ये फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर है, सेंट्रल के कुछ नियम होते हैं, उन नियमों के आधार पर काम होता है, स्टेट को कुछ नियम होते हैं उन आधार पर। सर हम जरूर ये कहते हैं कि हम मिलकर काम करते हैं, कोई भी सुविधा हम जो देते हैं तो हम स्टेट के हेल्थ को लेके ही करते हैं। हम ऐसा नहीं कहते हैं कि हम जिम्मेवारियां को टाल रहे हैं, लेकिन सर हम एक रिस्पेक्ट से कहते हैं कि हम जो भी सर आप सर जो भी हम फाइनेंस देते हैं सर वो स्टेट को ही अलॉट होता है सर, स्टेट ने ही वो नीचे देना है सर। हमारी NHM की जो विंग खड़ी है वो स्टेट के थ्रू ही जाती है सर। लेकिन जो आदरणीय सदस्य ने महोदय ने कहा कि जो भी इनपुट्स आते हैं सर वो स्टेट से ही आते हैं, तो हम उनका भी रिस्पेक्ट करके स्टेट के साथ ही जुड़े होकर काम कर रहे हैं और अच्छा काम किया है।
माननीय रामनाथ ठाकुर।
धन्यवाद उपसभापति महोदय। मैं आपके माध्यम से मंत्री जी से पूछना चाहता हूं कि समय सीमा के अंदर ऑक्सीजन से कितने लोग मरे, ऑक्सीजन के नहीं रहने के कारण कितने लोग मरे पूरे हिंदुस्तान में, स्टेज वाइज क्या माननीय सदस्यों को सूचना देने का काम करेंगी?
धन्यवाद।
आदरणीय उपसभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से ये जरूर कहना चाहूंगी कि इसका जवाब मैंने डिटेल पहले ही जो सवाल उठाया उसमें ही डिटेल विवरण दे दिया है और लिखित रूप में भी आज के जवाब में वो दिया है। फिर भी मैं फिर दोहराती हूँ कि सर वो जो डेथ्स है जो कि टोटल रिकॉर्ड डेथ्स जो कि स्टेट से आते हैं वो आज तक के है 5,20,358 डेथ ड्यू टू कोविड और जो कि स्टेट ने दिए हैं सर। माननीय सदस्य ने जो सवाल उठाया फिर एक बार दोहराती हूँ कि यूनियन गवर्नमेंट ने रिक्वेस्ट की थी सारे स्टेट्स यूटीज को कि वो डिटेल्स दे दे जो पूछा है, लेकिन आज के दौर पर 20 स्टेट्स एंड यूनिट्स ऐसे हैं कि जिन्होंने रिस्पॉन्ड किया है, लेकिन नन ऑफ द स्टेट्स एंड यूटीज हैव रिपोर्टेड कंफर्म डेथ्स ड्यू टू ऑक्सीजन शॉर्टेज। जैसे ही सर हम कोई बात छिपाना नहीं चाहते या बताना चाहते, ऐसी बात नहीं है, जो भी स्टेट से आता है आपको अवगत किया जाए।
धन्यवाद। क्वेश्चन नंबर 350 डॉक्टर वी शिवदासन। डॉक्टर वी शिवदासन एब्सेंट। माननीय शांतनु सेन जी।
Sir, in the given reply regarding COVID vaccination, our health ministry has categorically accepted that we are still far away from getting all the eligible citizens vaccinated by double dose. Sir, I am not here to give discredit to the government only, as the speakers from the Treasury branch are even busy in giving credit to the present government even during this question hours. But I am here to raise a specific question. Sir, we have been listening to several promises during this COVID vaccination. We have seen there is a sharp rise of COVID vaccination on International Yoga Day. We have seen a sharp vaccination rise.
Please, question, Dr.
Yeah, I am coming, sir. I am
Please.
coming. On the birthday of our learned Prime Minister, followed by sharp fall in vaccination. My question, which is a long-standing question in the mind of the people at large in the country, can our minister give a specific date? Because earlier I used to learn that by 31st of December 2021, all eligible citizens will be vaccinated by double dose. Forget about the booster dose.
Please,
My question, my minister, can she give a specific date by which all the eligible Indian citizens will be vaccinated by double dose?
Thank you.
उपसभापति महोदय, मैं पहले तो माननीय सांसद जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि जो चिंता का विषय है वो भी उन्होंने रखा कि वैक्सीन को लेके, लेकिन उसके पहले मैं ये जरूर कहना चाहूंगी कि भारत का सबसे अच्छा सबसे बड़ा वैक्सीन ड्राइव चला जो कि दुनिया ने देखा और जो हमारे बेनिफिशियरीज है
और लैंडसेट ने
उनको हमने भी देखा। सर सब जर्नल्स का भी हम विवरण लेते हैं, लेकिन मैं ये बात जरूर कहना चाहती हूँ, अगर आज 184 करोड़ को हम लोग पार कर रहे हैं, जिसमें कि फर्स्ट डोज 97% दिया गया है, सेकेंड डोज 85% दिया गया है, लेकिन सर उसमें भी मैं कहना चाहूंगी कि ये जो किया है हमने, ये सबको मिलके सबके प्रयासों से हुआ है। हर एक ने अपना, आदरणीय सांसद सभी बैठे हैं यहाँ पे, सभी ने अच्छा ध्यान दिया है। हर घर दस्तक भी चला, अनेक ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स चले, मीडिया ने भी सपोर्ट किया, इसी कारण ये सक्सेसफुल ड्राइव चला। लेकिन सर मैं कहना चाहूंगी कि ये वॉलंटरी है जो कि हमने लिखा भी है, जो 94 करोड़ बेनिफिशियरीज को हमने सामने रखा था। हमारी कमिटमेंट थी सर कि दुनिया में जो भी क्राइसिस चल रहे थे वैक्सीन को लेके, लेकिन भारत में ये नहीं होगा, भारत वैक्सीन अवेलेबल करेगा, वैक्सीन बनाएगा। वो सर कमिटमेंट पूरी कर दिया, आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में ये वैक्सीन बना भी और सभी को दिया भी। लेकिन सर ये वॉलंटरी है। मैं माननीय सदस्य को बहुत ही अनुरोध करती हूँ और कहती हूँ कि अगर ये वॉलंटरी है, लेकिन फिर भी हम सब जुट जाए इस मुहिम में कि सबकी सुरक्षा को लेकर हम सबके प्रयास और बढ़े, ताकि जो रहे हैं हम उनमें दे सके।
माननीय दिग्विजय जी।
12 साल के ऊपर बच्चे व वयस्क, उनके लिए वैक्सीन आपने प्रोटोकॉल तय कर दिया। उन सभी भारतीयों को इस बात की चिंता है कि 12 साल से कम बच्चों के लिए अभी तक आपने कोई प्रोटोकॉल तय नहीं किया है, जबकि यूएसए और अधिकांश वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड और मिडिल ईस्ट में एज 5 से लेकर एज 11 तक प्रोटोकॉल मंजूर कर दिया है और वैक्सीनेशन प्रारंभ हो गया है। मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि भारत सरकार कब इस देश के बच्चे जो 12 साल से कम हैं, उनके लिए कब वैक्सीनेशन प्रोटोकॉल आप तय करेंगे, क्योंकि 6 महीने के बच्चों का भी प्रोटोकॉल के ऊपर काफी काम हुआ है।
आदरणीय उपसभापति महोदय,
प्लीज एक मिनट माननीय दिग्विजय जी, आप सबसे पहले लंबे समय तक सत्ता में रहे हैं। अगर प्रावधान बना दिए होते कि सबसे अधिक आप ही को सवाल मिले तो मैं कर देता। धन्यवाद। प्लीज, नथिंग इज गोइंग ऑन रिकॉर्ड नाउ।
इसमें क्या
नथिंग इज गोइंग ऑन रिकॉर्ड।
धन्यवाद भी नहीं। ये भी पार्लियामेंट्री है।
माननीय सदस्य, आप जानते हैं हर चीज में अगर आप ही मांगेंगे प्रश्न तो आपके और दूसरे सदस्यों को दूं या ना दूं, ये भी व्यवस्था आपने कर दी होती, ये भी व्यवस्था आपने की होती तो मैं धन्यवाद देता। प्लीज।
आदरणीय उपसभापति महोदय, जो प्रश्न उठाया गया है जरूर ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है और सभी सुरक्षित रहे इस भावना को लेकर हम काम कर रहे हैं। इसमें बिल्कुल ही शंका जताने वाली बात नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि जो वैक्सीन का ड्राइव चला, जब वैक्सीन के जो भी प्रोटोकॉल्स तय हुए उसके लिए सर एक्सपर्ट ग्रुप होते हैं, साइंटिफिक एविडेंस होते हैं, ट्रायल्स होते हैं और उनके आधार पर वैक्सीन को मान्यता मिलती है। सर उन्होंने कहा कि अनेक देशों में, लेकिन उन देशों के कंपैरेटिव आज भारत ने भी दिखा दिया है कि ओमिक्रॉन की वेव आई तो हम अच्छे सेफ रहे क्योंकि अच्छा वैक्सीनेशन कर पाए। सर जरूर उन्होंने कहा है कि एज ग्रुप को लेकिन हम लगातार वो प्रोटोकॉल्स में जो प्रोटोकॉल्स लगे वो 60 इयर्स के हो, चाहे कोमॉर्बिड के हो या 45 इयर्स के हो या फिर अभी 15 से 18 हो या 12 से 14। सर उन्होंने कहा कि माननीय सदस्य ने कहा 12 से नीचे। सर मैं फिर एक बार जरूर कहना चाहूंगी कि जो रिकमेंडेशंस आते हैं, जो हमारे नेशनल टेक्निकल एडवाइजरी ग्रुप होती है जो इम्यूनाइजेशन पे स्टडी करती है, विवरण देखती है, कुछ ट्रायल्स होते हैं। सर वो ट्रायल्स के जब रिपोर्ट्स आते हैं उसका वैक्सीन का क्या प्रभाव है, क्या एफिशिएंसी है, क्या उसका रिजल्ट है, उस आधार पर हम वो निर्णय लेते हैं। ये सर साइंटिफिक बेस एक निर्णय होता है, इसमें कोई कठिनाई नहीं है, लेकिन सर ये ट्रायल चल रहा है, उसके आधार पर ये काम रहेगा। मैं फिर एक बार आपके माध्यम से कहना चाहूंगी कि ये साइंटिफिक बेस
धन्यवाद
रिसर्च होती है।
डॉक्टर अशोक वाजपेयी जी, डॉक्टर अशोक वाजपेयी। देसाई जी।
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. Sir, in yesterday's conclave which was held at Pune, Dr. Adar Poonawala, who has come out with the vaccine Covishield, and which proved very beneficial to one and all, not only in India but abroad also in foreign countries. He has expressed his doubts that booster, which was necessary and which had come out, those who have taken 2 doses are due for booster, and they had come out with the schedule also. Government has also declared it, but response is very poor from the people of
Please
India.
question.
Yeah. What steps are being taken? Because to travel abroad, to take foreign tours or something, that is necessary as he has expressed his apprehensions. May I know from the Honorable Minister through you, what steps are being taken to give this widespread knowledge, or people are made aware to go for the booster?
Thank you.
के माध्यम से ये जरूर कहना चाहूंगी कि जो सवाल उठा है फिर एक बार बूस्टर डोज को लेके है, ये इसी बेस पे आधार करता है कि जो NTAGI हमें रिपोर्ट करती है, उनके रिकमेंडेशंस आते हैं जो कि एक नेशनल टेक्निकल एडवाइजरी ग्रुप ऑफ इम्यूनाइजेशन पे काम करती है। सर उनके रिपोर्ट के आधार पर ही हम निर्णय कर पाते हैं। जैसे ही उनके रिपोर्ट्स आते हैं हम वो प्रावधान करते हैं, ना कि किसी के स्टेटमेंट पे या ना कि किसी के पक्ष में। सर हमारा काम यही है कि ये साइंटिफिक बेस रहे, और जो कि एक वैक्सीन के बाद भी कुछ प्रावधान होते हैं जो देख देखने पड़ते हैं, ये सभी को लेके ये काम चल रहा है। मुझे लगता है अलग अलग ग्रुप में जो भी नोटिफिकेशन निकले हैं, गाइडलाइन निकले हैं, तो वो समय पर वो रिकमेंडेशन के आधार पर ही किए जाते हैं।
धन्यवाद। क्वेश्चन नंबर 351 पर हम आए इसके पहले माननीय सदस्यगण मैं अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं कि आप हाथ उठाते हैं, यहाँ बाकायदे हम लोग नोट करते हैं, और जब समय पूछने का आता है तो आप अगर सीट पे मौजूद नहीं रहेंगे, नंबर 1, और नंबर 2 कि अपने सीमित समय में अगर क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछेंगे दूसरों को मौका नहीं मिलेगा। माननीय से हर्षवर्धन सिंह डूंगरपुर।
क्वेश्चन
माननीय मंत्री जी।
सर उत्तर सभा पटल पर रख दिया है।
फर्स्ट सप्लीमेंट्री।
Recently on 25th February, AIIMS institutions together have conducted an exhaustive survey and reported that warning labels have overwhelming acceptance by consumers of all strata. Is the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare considering acceptance of this study by renowned medical establishments like AIIMS, which recommended warning labels?
Thank you.
सर, आदरणीय सदस्य ने जो प्रश्न उठाया है, जो लेबल को लेके है, जो फूड पैकेट्स पे आता है, तो मैं आदरणीय सदस्य को यही कहना चाहूँगी आपके माध्यम से, सर ये रेगुलेशंस जो नोटिफाई किए हैं फूड सेफ्टी एंड स्टैंडर्ड अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया ने, जो कि कहता है कि ये रेगुलेशंस में दिया गया है कि ये लेबल पे जो न्यूट्रिशनल इंफॉर्मेशन है जो कि कंट्रीब्यूट टू रिकमेंडेड डेली अलाउंस के आधार पर परसेंटेज के माध्यम से जो कि कंज्यूमर को एक विकल्प देने के लिए बने हैं, तो वो मैंडेटरी है। और इसको सर फॉर फूड बिजनेस ऑपरेटर्स को ये लेबल फूड पैकेज के लिए देने के लिए अभी शुरू होने वाला है।
सेकंड सप्लीमेंट्री।
सर आई हैव ओनली वन सप्लीमेंट्री।
माननीय संजय सिंह।
से सवाल है कि ऐसे कितने मामले आपके विभाग के द्वारा हल किए गए या कितने मामले आपके सामने आए जिन पर आपका हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट कार्रवाई करता है? कितने लोगों पे आपने अब तक कार्रवाई की? क्या इसका कोई डाटा है? क्योंकि FSSAI का लेबल लगा के बहुत सारे लोग सामान अपना बेचते हैं जो वास्तव में आपके मानकों को पूरा नहीं करता, बावजूद इसके अगर वो बेच रहे हैं तो उन पे कितनी कार्रवाई हुई? और एक छोटा सा सवाल
हो गया संजय, इसी में 2 सवाल आपने संजय जी पूछ लिया। प्लीज
जी जरूर आदरणीय उपसभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से ये सदस्य को अवगत कराना चाहती हूँ कि ये सवाल बहुत ही गंभीर है, जो कि एक फूड रिलेटेड जो अडल्ट्रेशन है उसके बारे में है, और ये फूड सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी स्टैंडर्ड्स के एक्ट के तहत जो भी एक्शंस है वो लिए जाते हैं, जो कि अपने मानकों पे खरे नहीं उतरते हैं। तो वहाँ पे सर स्टेट में हमारे स्टेट कमिश्नर रहते हैं, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पर फूड ऑफिसर्स रहते हैं जो कि ये देखते हैं और तुरंत उन पे कार्रवाई भी की जाती है। आदरणीय सदस्य ने जो सवाल किया है इसके डिटेल्स, तो मैं जरूर ये कहना चाहूँगी कि लगातार इसमें 2019 20 21 में मुझे डिटेल्स है, लेकिन फिर भी उसमें नंबर ऑफ सैंपल्स अगर एनालिसिस किए हैं तो लास्ट ईयर के मैं कहूँगी तो लगभग 1 लाख सैंपल को सर एनालिसिस भी किया है। उसमें जो भी है उनको कंप्लेंट के आधार पर, पिनल कोड के आधार पर उनको एक्शन भी लिया है और वो स्टेट के तहत किया जाता है।
धन्यवाद। माननीय जया बच्चन जी।
मैक्सिमम कंज्यूमर्स बच्चे होते हैं और बहुत से पैकेजेस जो हैं वो जेन्युइन नहीं होते हैं, लेबल नहीं होते हैं। क्या सरकार कोई अपने एडवर्टाइजमेंट्स के थ्रू या कोई ऐसे प्रक्रिया के थ्रू जनता को अवगत कराएगी कि आपको ऐसे ऐसे जगह में जाके कंप्लेन करना है और कितने दिनों में इस कंप्लेन के ऊपर कार्रवाई की जाएगी? क्योंकि सर ये एक है मोनोसोडियम ग्लूटामेट, दिस इज फाउंड इन अ लॉट ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट्स विच इज वेरी वेरी हार्मफुल फॉर ह्यूमन लाइफ।
थैंक यू जय।
आदरणीय उपसभापति महोदय, जो भी सवाल माननीय सदस्य ने किया है तो ये एक गंभीर मुद्दा भी है, क्योंकि बच्चे लगातार कुछ खाते हैं तो उन्हें शायद पता नहीं है, ऐसे माननीय सदस्य का कहना है। यही है कि जो भी रिकमेंडेशन के आधार पर जो भी स्टैंडर्ड को मेंटेन किए हुए हैं ये लेबल पे आना चाहिए। वो एक्ट के तहत मैंडेटरी है और अगर वो नहीं है तो उन पे एक्शन भी लिया जाता है। फिर भी अगर अवेयरनेस के बारे में कहा जाए तो लगातार ये अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम चलता है मिनिस्ट्री के थ्रू, और हमारी फूड सेफ्टी को लेके, हाइजीन को लेके, हेल्दी डाइट को लेके, ट्रांस फैट को लेके ये अवेयरनेस किया जाता है। उसमें सर न्यूट्रिशनल इन्फॉर्मेशन की भी ये दी जाती है। फूड सेफ्टी के आधार पर जो भी इश्यूज है वो भी उस माध्यम से दिए जाते हैं। सर ऑनलाइन भी हम उस पर काम कर रहे हैं कि जो अवेयर करे। उसके अलावा फिट इंडिया मूवमेंट चल रहा है, ईट टू राइट मूवमेंट चल रहा है, जिसके आधार पर हम कहते हैं कि क्या खाना जरूरी है और जो उचित है, लेकिन जो कंप्लेंट आती है तो उसको भी हम सॉल्व करते हैं।
माननीय महेश पोद्दार जी।
Thank you, Vice Chairman Sahab. Sir, the government has replied that nutritional information requires display of nutrients, but sir, there are many harmful ingredients like fat, salt, sugar, preservatives. It is not mandatory to specify them, and the result is that the consumer doesn't know how much to consume and what is the safe limit and what is beyond the limit. Sir, I think the government wants to make the people aware. So will they review and take the comprehensive view so that a person by seeing the level can know if I am exceeding the limit? Thank you.
सभापति महोदय, जो पहले ही मैंने कहा है कि जो भी उस कंटेंट में आता है, चाहे वो शुगर है, फैट है, सॉल्ट है, उसका विवरण उस पैकेट पे देना अनिवार्य है, जो कि हमारा फूड सेफ्टी एंड स्टैंडर्ड अथॉरिटी ऑफ लिमिटेड का जो नोटिफाइड रेगुलेशन है उसमें दिया है। लेकिन फिर भी अगर डेली अलाउंस में कितना खाना है और कितनी हमारी मार्किंग है न्यूट्रिशन की, तो उस माध्यम से ये भी मैंडेटरी किया है कि वो उस लेबल पे आए, ताकि एक विकल्प चुन सके कि इसमें क्या हानिकारक हो सकता है।
धन्यवाद। नाउ क्वेश्चन नंबर 352 ऑनरेबल KRN राजेश कुमार। माननीय मंत्री जी।
जवाब सभा पटल पर रखा गया। सभापति महोदय।
राजेश जी, पुट योर फर्स्ट सप्लीमेंट्री।
Honorable Deputy Chairman Sir, first I thank you, this August House member and the ministers, because today the question is reached the serial number 7.
Thank to all. Thanks to all your colleagues.
Okay.
Please.
Sir, whether Indian agriculture sector will face the impact arising of the hostilities between Russia and Ukraine, which are expected to push up the prices, availability of potash, a key component used in the manufacturing of the fertilizers. If so, what are the steps intended to be taken of the government?
Thank you, Rajesh.
पति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से इस सभागृह को और पूरा देश के किसानों को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि पिछला साल भी भारत के किसान उर्वरक को लेकर के बड़ी चिंता थी, लेकिन माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नेतृत्व में समय समय पर निर्णय लेकर के भारत के किसानों को उर्वरक समय पर और सही दाम पर हमने पूरा कर दिया है। और इस साल भी आने वाला रबी और खरीफ के लिए भी भारत सरकार माननीय नरेंद्र भाई मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में, उनका मार्गदर्शन में पूरा आश्वस्त कर रखा है। ऐसा कोई परेशानी नहीं होगा। और कीमत जो कीमत आज दे रहे हैं, बल्कि दुनिया में जिसका इसका फीड स्टॉक की कीमत 4 दुगना 5 दुगना बढ़ा है, लेकिन भारत सरकार प्रतिबद्ध है। जो कीमत है वही कीमत पर हम किसानों को पूरा करेंगे।
सेकंड सप्लीमेंट।
Indian Farmer Fertilizers Cooperative Organization is the largest producer of fertilizers as of now. It was under the Ministry of C&F. It is a relevant ministry. Logically, IFCO should work under the C&F ministry for better execution. Why the ministry has decided to transfer this organization to the Ministry of Cooperation?
Thank you.
उपसभापति महोदय,
ये कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर ही है इफको, इसी के लिए वो सेक्टर में वो काम करती है। लेकिन भारत सरकार का दिशा निर्देशन के अंदर ही हमारा जो NBS के आधार पर जो हम प्रोड्यूसन करते हैं वो हमारा नियम के तहत ही वो प्रोडक्शन करके हम किसानों को देते हैं। उपसभापति को
धन्यवाद। माननीय कामाख्या प्रसाद तासा जी।
सर, मंत्री जी का आंसर देखा, मंत्री जी काफी डिटेल से बताया है। मेरा क्वेश्चन है सर, आसाम में एक फर्टिलाइजर फैक्ट्री है, उसका नाम है ब्रह्मपुत्र वैली फर्टिलाइजर कॉर्पोरेशन लिमिटेड। इसका यूनिट 1 और 2 बंद हो चुका है। 3 के लिए ऑनरेबल हम लोग का सरदार फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने 100 करोड़ का एक पैकेज दिया था, वो पैकेज का क्या हुआ? और 4th यूनिट जो है नहीं होने से 3rd यूनिट भी बंद हो जाएगा, क्योंकि नॉर्थ ईस्ट में EI पूर्ति जो है ये फुलफिल करता है, ये एक ही फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी है। इसका यूनिट 2 और 3 बंद हो, 1, 2 बंद हुआ, 3 के लिए 100 करोड़ दिया, उसका क्या हुआ? 4 कप।
धन्यवाद कामाख्या जी।
BVFCL का यूनिट को हम लोग नेशनल यूरिया पॉलिसी के अंतर्गत हमने 21 मई 2015 को हमने उनको परमिशन दिया है, ताकि इसके अंदर वो फिर से एक बार चालू करने के लिए, इतना हम बताते सकते हैं। उपसभापति महोदय।
माननीय त्रिचू शिवा जी, ऑनरेबल त्रिचू शिवा, योर क्वेश्चन इज ऑन दिस। Yes, supplementary.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. Sir, the new NUP 2015, with the objective of maximizing indigenous urea production, promoting energy efficiency in urea production, and rationalizing subsidy burden on the government. So, my question to the minister is, while rationalizing the subsidy burden to the government, will it not be transferring it on the shoulders of the farmers? Because already the farmers are suffering of not getting due and genuine price for the produce, but the input costs have increased. So when the subsidy has been reduced and shouldered on the shoulders of the farmers, will it not burden them? And do you consider of?
Thank you. Have put your question
yes,
already.
Will you consider of the problems that are faced by the farmers because of the hiking the prices of?
Thank you.
उपसभापति महोदय, नेशनल यूरिया पॉलिसी के अंतर्गत जो मैक्सिमाइजिंग इंडिजिनियस यूरिया प्रोडक्शन, प्रोमोटिंग एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी, ये मुद्दा लेकर के हम आए थे। इसी के अंतर्गत देश के अंदर 25 ऐसे गैस बेस्ड प्रोजेक्ट हमने उसको गैस बेस्ड पर कन्वर्ट करके उनको हमने चालू किया है। इसी का नतीजे से करीब 25 से आई विल कम बैक,
लेट हिम प्लीज लिसन हिम।
नो इश्यू। पिछला 14 साल से, मतलब 2014 से के बाद अगर कंपेयर करें तो 20 से 25 लाख मेट्रिक टन हमने उत्पादन ज्यादा किया है। तो सदस्य का क्वेश्चन है कि फीड स्टॉक का कीमत वगैरह बढ़ने के बावजूद ये ट्रांसफर जो रैशनलाइजेशन, किसानों के ऊपर बोझ बढ़ेगा। किसी हालत में किसानों के ऊपर बोझ मोदी सरकार नहीं बढ़ने देता, क्योंकि BE 2021 और 22 के अंदर बढ़ने नहीं देगा। सुनिए इधर, 2021 और 22 का BE आप देख लीजिए, बजट के अंदर 83,548 करोड़ रखा था, लेकिन इंटरनेशनल मार्केट के अंदर सभी फीड स्टॉक का कीमत बढ़ने के बावजूद भारत सरकार, नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नेतृत्व वाली सरकार, उसको सब्सिडी बढ़ाते हुए आरी के अंदर 1,62,072 करोड़ रुपए हमने बढ़ा दिया, लेकिन किसानों के ऊपर हमने बोझ नहीं बढ़ा दिया। और इसी के अलावा इस साल भी हमारा बजट के अंदर पिछले साल का बजट एस्टिमेट से भी ज्यादा पैसा रख करके 1,09,242 करोड़ माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार, माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी ने दिया। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। पिछले साल से भी हम लोग 25,654 करोड़ रुपए बजट के अंदर परियोजना ज्यादा किया है। फिर भी इस साल अगर बढ़ने के बावजूद भी फिर आरी के अंदर नरेंद्र भाई मोदी जी के सरकार किसानों के ऊपर किसी हालत में बड़ा नहीं बढ़ने देगा, ये विश्वास देता हूं।
धन्यवाद। माननीय जयप्रकाश निषाद जी, प्लीज। माननीय जयप्रकाश निषाद जी।
सबसे पहले तो मैं इस देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी को बधाई देता हूं कि बहुत सारे उर्वरक कारखाने बंद हो गए थे उन्होंने बना के किसानों के जीवन में खुशहाली लाने का काम किया है। माननीय मंत्री जी से मैं जानना चाहता हूं, क्या माननीय मंत्री जी बताने की कृपा करेंगे कि गोरखपुर में जो कारखाना बन के तैयार है, क्या किसानों के लिए भरपूर मात्रा में उर्वरक समय से देने का काम करेंगे?
गोरखपुर पिछला फरवरी के अंदर कमीशन हो चुका है, अभी उसका प्रोडक्शन चालू है। तो निश्चित रूप में हमारा एनआईपी और एनयूपी के तहत जो इतना प्लांट हमने खड़ा कर रखा है, इसी के लिए आत्मनिर्भर इस उर्वरक के अंदर देश बने, इसी का एक मुद्दा लेकर के हुआ था। तो करीब करीब आने वाले दिनों के अंदर 1,04,000 मेट्रिक टन यूरिया देश के अंदर बनेगा और निश्चित रूप से किसानों को हमारे इंडिजिनियस प्रोडक्शन मिलेगा।
क्वेश्चन नंबर 353 माननीय श्री जीसी चंद्रशेखर जी। माननीय श्री जी प्लीज।
क्वेश्चन नंबर 353 सर।
माननीय मंत्री जी
सर उत्तर सभा पटल पर रख दिया।
फर्स्ट सप्लीमेंट्री।
Sir, rural India doctor-to-patient ratio is around 1:10,926 as per National Health Profile 2019. In our state, Uttar Kannada district, if any emergency occurs in Sirsi Taluk, the patient has to go travel around 2.5 hours, 100 kilometers to Hubli or Shivamogga around 3.5 kilometers.
ji, question hour is over now, please.
Sir, this is the third time, sir, it is happening like.
Now, we are taking this bill, the Chartered Accountants, the Cost and Works Accountants and the Company Secretaries Amendment Bill 2022. Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman to move a motion for consideration of the Chartered Accountants, the Cost and Works Accountants and the Company Secretaries Amendment Bill 2022.
Sir, I rise to move that the bill further to amend the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, the Cost and Works Accountants Act 1959 and the Company Secretaries Act 1980 as passed by the Lok Sabha be taken into consideration.
Honorable Minister, आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
So I'll do it to my reply.
Thank you. Motion moved. There is one amendment by Sri John Britas for reference of the Chartered Accountants, the Cost and Works Accountants and the Company Secretaries Amendment Bill 2022 as passed by Lok Sabha to a select committee of the Rajya Sabha. Member may move his amendment at this stage without any speech. Sri John Britas, Honorable John Britas, absent. So motion not moved. So now debate and Dr. L. You have 10 minutes, Hanumantaiah ji.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. The Chartered Accountants, Cost and Works Accountants and the Company Secretaries Bill 2021 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on 17 December 2021. It was referred to Standing Committee on 21st December and passed in Lok Sabha on 30th March 22. Sir, this bill amends the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, Cost and Works Accountants Act 1959 and the Company Secretaries Act 1980 to change the disciplinary mechanism under the three professional bodies of CA, CS and cost accountants. Sir, this bill seeks to bring more scrutiny and autonomy in the functioning of these three professional institutes, namely the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Cost Accountants and Company Secretaries of India. Sir, the statement and objects and reasons of this bill states that amendments are as per recommendations of the High Power Committee created under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs aimed at strengthening the existing mechanism of this functioning of three institutes. Sir, now the bill makes provisions for a non-chartered accountant as per the presiding officer of the disciplinary committee, which could hamper the professional functioning of the committee. Sir, the other professional bodies like medical council or the bar council are headed by professionals who understand the nuisances of industry and bring in experience and expertise? And how would a non-CA understand the technical nuisances of the issues in front of the committee? Is my first question. Sir, the second question is, external members still decided by same institutes. Sir, I just wanted to, Section 9A, very broad coordination committee is proposed under this bill. Sir, existing mechanism is taking care of the required coordination between the institutes. Under Section 17 of the CA Act, as a non-standing committee, the coordination committee of all the three institutes already exists. And I wanted to ask, what is the purpose of making this coordination committee? This may be made as standing committee. This is my suggestion. Sir, Section 21A and 21B of this bill, 2 CAs, 3 non-chartered accountants or presiding officers will be 1 out of 3 non-CAs is made the provision. But the non-chartered accountants should not be the presiding officers of this disciplinary committee. The reason being, sir, it is because application of complex accounting, the functioning standards, auditing standards, code of ethics, taxation, GST, customs, money laundering, etc., required in case of professional misconduct by the CA, by the chartered accountant. So only the chartered accountant may fully appreciate these type of cases which are coming into this disciplinary committee. So I request the non-chartered accountants should not be the presiding officers of this disciplinary committee. That is my another request, sir. Sir, Section 20C says any firm which has been declared from undertaking any activity or activities relating to the profession of a chartered accountant into the profession, the practice under any law, time being in force or any competent court. Sir, this Section 20C, there may be a serious consequences if firms are removed. That is very, very important. So this provision should not be there, so that the one more problem in this is, these committees are, this department itself is self-funding department. Government is not spending even any amount on these 3 institutes. Their studying is independent, the students are being funded by their parents, and the committees are running under the fees collected by the students. When that is the case, the government's interference as much as possible should not be to the long way. It should be allowed, the autonomy of these bodies should be allowed, and the government also interested in allowing the autonomy of these bodies. But on the other hand, backside of the door, they wanted to enter and control all the institutes, which is not correct. Sir, as per the Section 20A, Register of Firms has been made a separate chapter. Of course, that is okay and good. I agree with it. If the name of the firm is registered outside India, then identical or similar name should not be registered in India is the condition. Sir, how do you verify this? I wanted to know from the Honorable Finance Minister in this case, if the same name is registered outside India, many a times the Indian people who are wanted to register may not be able to get these names, so that if there is repetition, it will be disqualified. That should not be allowed, and I wanted that section has to be corrected properly. So verification of names registered outside India through one single window agency, which may lead to verification of name may be very difficult. So we should not put people into trouble just by names. So that is what my request is. Sir, section 19(2) and 20(b), in these two, in the register of members, firms' inclusion of information pertaining to pendency of actionable cases. Sir, this entry of pendency of actionable complaint or information, the cases should be made only after the member or the firm held guilty by the board of director or disciplinary committee and the final order is passed. Sir, here there is a problem. During the process, if a firm or a person, his name is announced here, he will have the adverse effect. So unless the final order is passed, his name should not be published. That is another request by me. So I am requesting section 21(8) as per the bill, non-withdrawal of the complaint filed with this disciplinary directorate under any circumstances is the condition. Sir, I just wanted to ask the Honorable Finance Minister again, if anybody files a submission or files to the disciplinary directorate, if they are not allowed to withdraw their own things after the correction by them, what is the problem for the disciplinary committee is my question. Why it should not be allowed to withdraw? Sir, can we be so strict that treating these firms, treating these persons as criminals under these acts? So I sincerely request the government allowing withdrawal of the complaint filed before them must be there. It should be there because the person who has filed any complaint, filed his own cases, can be allowed to withdraw. But the bill doesn't say so. That is very, very strict and it should not be there according to me. Sir, section 21(9) says availability of the status of actionable information. Availability of status of actionable information and complaints pending before the disciplinary directorate or the board of directorate or the disciplinary committee. This only after final order is made by the BOD, which I have already said. See, unless...
Please wind up now.
I will do it, sir. Unless the board of directorate or the disciplinary committee are made available in public domain, then the firm will have the adverse effect in the public domain. Afterwards, if the case is going to be in his favor, the firm may not get any business afterwards. He may not be able to practice at all. So that is the reason I request the Honorable Minister allow these only after the final decision is done by the Board of Director. So these are my submissions under this bill, sir.
Thank you.
After correcting this bill, this can be passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next speaker is Sri Suresh Prabhu.
So thank you, sir. And I know this is in a way a very important piece of legislation, bringing amendments to some of the very important institutions, professional bodies that function in the country. As we know, when we want to accelerate the rate of growth of Indian economy, it is obvious that a main important responsibility will be that of the corporate sector. Because as the finance minister said in a budget speech, as well as reiterated it on a number of other occasions, that we must boost private investment. Besides public investment, which is really now responsible for bringing in a very good, respectable rate of growth for the Indian economy, we must have a corresponding boost from the Indian private sector, which is actually called a corporate sector. There are, of course, non-corporate sector entities as well, but major burden lies on the corporate sector. But the corporate sector's functioning, therefore, becomes very important. How do you ensure that a corporate sector which collects monies from the secondary market, from the primary market, put it back as equity or even loans, they borrow from the banks as well as from others. How do you ensure that this corporate sector functions properly? So, in a collective wisdom of this parliament, we passed a law just 2 years after the independence, way back in 1949, when we created Indian Chartered Accountant Institute, we created subsequently Cost and Works Accountant Institute, also Company Secretary Institute. These are the three major professional bodies which have a very important role to play in ensuring that corporate sector functions properly, and they have to also make sure that their own function is also transparent. How can you guarantee that a sector which has to rely on such entities and the members who are getting the membership flowing out of the charter of these institutes, how do they maintain properly? So their functioning also has to be proper. So therefore, this is a very important legislation, I would feel, which are trying to deal with the various aspects related to these. There are, of course, few provisions which are sought to be amended. Let me, first of all, Honorable Chairperson, I would like to disclose my interest. I am a chartered accountant by training, and I used to also practice as a chartered accountant for quite some time before, I don't know, rightly, wrongly, I decided to come into public life, and now I completed 40 years in public life, 26 years in the parliament. So I don't know, it was a right decision, wrong decision, I don't know.
For us, it's a right decision, Mr. Prabhu.
I am a chartered accountant by training, that's why I want to disclose that and tell you that in that context I am speaking. So, I was asking my institute of which I am a member, that I heard that you are opposing this bill tooth and nail. I said, why are you opposing it? They said, no, I think there is some misconception, we are not opposing. So I said, where are you supporting? So I collected from them that they are almost on several points, they have accepted a proposal which was mooted by the ministry. So it's a good thing that there was a dialogue between the government and I, knowing my Honorable Minister, who I have worked for many, many years, that she will definitely consult somebody without doing anything like this, so I really appreciate it. So therefore, it is not true that Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I cannot speak on behalf of the other two institutes because I am not a member of them, but they are not fully opposed everything that has been said in the bill. So there have been a lot of acceptance of the proposal, including determine the fee for the entry of the name in the register, powers to discipline chartered accountant firms, that is section 20A, 21A, 21B, increasing quantum of punishment, maintenance of register of firms, duration of council term, finance of the council, increasing the penalty for falsely claiming to be a member, etc., etc. So now, this is a good thing that new amendments are being proposed. The stakeholders were consulted, and therefore, in that spirit, I feel it is also necessary to understand if there are any apprehensions on the part of members of the Chartered Accountant Institute as well as other institutes. So on the first one, I think this is very important to note, is related to disciplinary action to be taken. As we know, no one can dispute the fact that every institute and every member of that institute must function in a manner which has to be firstly in accordance with the law, but also in line with the professional conduct rules that have been framed from time to time. And the regulation of that, ideally, should be self-regulation. In fact, the former president of the institute is also sitting here. So, it should be in regulation, should be such that it should be done in a transparent way, but also must inspire confidence of the society. It is true that some instances that have happened in the last several years, people are questioning about this issue. So I can understand the response, but I will only point out to my the Honourable Minister about certain issues which are related to this. So number one, the provision related to the Constitution of Board of Discipline, which is sought to amend Section 21A(1) and Section 21B(1). We are trying to propose that there should be 3 non-chartered accountants besides 2 chartered accountants. I would like to just point out one important issue related to this. See, normally, the disciplinary action will be taken when there is a professional misconduct. The professional misconduct will arise out of, normally, most of the professional misconduct. There can be complaints like fighting between the partners of the chartered accountant firm. There could be issues related to certain other issues which are really speaking not professional as such, though related to professional chartered accountant firm, but not professional in that sense of the term. So what is professional misconduct largely will accrue, will come out of a very important issue related to balance sheet and profit loss account, broadly you can say financial statements. Now these financial statements had to be prepared, and I was saying in context of, there is another chartered accountant sitting here, Mr. Gujral. So these statements which are prepared in case of corporate sector, particularly largely which are related to us, under the Companies Act. So there was a provision in Companies Act 1956, and when we repealed that act, we replaced it with some other new code. The provision still subsists in the same way. And what does it say? It says an auditor has to certify the balance sheet and profit loss account, the financial statements, to be true and fair. See, very important part. When you say true and fair, it is not even our intention of this legislation, our parliament, because we only passed the law. We only made the provisions about how the auditor should certify. In that we said they should certify that should true and fair. It is fair, the word fair. What is fair is a very subjective term. The fairness, if my son will think I am not fair to him, my son's friend will think his father is fair to him. What is fairness will differ from person to person. A very subjective assessment. Now my point is, if a subjective assessment is the cause of disciplinary action, in that case, let it be left to the judgment of the professionals. How can you decide the fairness of a financial statement which is so technical in nature when a non-chartered accountant can sit on judgment and decide about it? Let us look at it, sir. If there are normally, in a medical cases also, there are a lot of misconduct possible. The Indian Medical Council goes into it. But suppose if you are looking at a medical procedure, whether it was done rightly or wrongly, can it be decided by a non-medical professional? Can you tell a non-doctor to say that please tell me that whether this surgical procedure was corrected properly or not? And if it comes to judgment like this, what would be the effect of that? Suppose because I am a chartered accountant, I can say I know everything, and if I sit on judgment to decide whether that medical procedure is right or wrong and I give a judgment, what implications it will have? So I am not saying that fairness of a financial statement is important, but the fairness of these proceedings also are important. Therefore, I understand why it is proposed by the government that non-chartered accountant. But will it suffice the purpose for which it is made? Will it achieve the objective? Or it will create some unintended wrong consequences? Because then I am going to sit on judgment and say, oh no, this is wrong. What is my technical competence to decide that? And therefore, this is extremely important. There is another chartered accountant. I discovered he is a chartered accountant recently, Mr. Arun Singh. So we are very few. We are a minority. So please bear with us. So sir, I was saying that this disciplinary action to be taken, and as I said, largely it flows from financial statements, Another said financial statements are also certified in a way that should not be done to give an impression about a statement which is completely wrong or misleading. So what is misleading and what is wrong is actually very important. And therefore, all over the world, because this is what is the practice followed most of the countries in the world, at least the advanced ones, what is important therefore is there has to be some sort of a codification of this. How do you make sure that true and fairness has been achieved when the balance sheet was signed by chartered accountant or the auditor in that case? So auditing is a technical term which we use. But what is auditing really speaking? End of it, you are giving an assurance. So audit is a function which gives assurance to all those who want to rely on the statement. So it's a public statement, public document, and in case of companies, obviously it's a public document. It is available on the website of Register of Companies, anybody can access it. In case of listed companies, it is available with the stock exchanges, respective stock exchanges where you are listed. So in this case, it is very important that there is an auditing standard on auditing SA 200. What does it say? Sir, it says, overall objectives of the independent auditor and the conduct of an audit according to standards on auditing is the mother standard of all standards. And it also says that it is an assurance which is given in a way that provides reasonable assurance about the financial statement of the company. Now, what is reasonable is very important. So there is a concept of materiality in auditing. Because when you audit companies, and Indian companies are also now becoming bigger and bigger, we have large companies, so you cannot conduct the audit of those companies unless you use the concept of materiality. You use materiality and find out whether this particular aspect is material in nature, that's why I should report on it, and therefore you can qualify the report. So even though you say it's a true and fair picture of the company, you can qualify your statement as an auditor. In that qualification, you will say something which is material in nature. So my request is, considering all these important aspects of this, while I understand why this government is thinking on these lines, but I personally feel there is a need for a serious rethink about a composition of Constitutional Board of Discipline in which no harm having an outsider. This is absolutely a part of fairness. But the numbers should not be such that you'll have non-chartered accountants outnumbering chartered accountants who are qualified to do that. And I give an example of doctors. Suppose if you sit a medical board in which you get 10 people, of which 8 are non-doctors, what would be the finding of that medical board would mean, end of the day. So I think this is something which I request the Honorable Minister, and I know I've known her for years, she's a most reasonable person, so she will definitely look into it. If not now, I'm not proposing amendment, but I'm sure over a period of time, you will definitely look into this. The second part which has just been mentioned, and this is something which I was wondering why there should not be, if under section 21(8), anybody can file a complaint against a professional body or a professional member of that body, rightly so. It has to be like that. But when you file a complaint, it should be taken to the logical end. What is logical end? The logical end would mean that the complaint should be heard by appropriate authorities, should be disposed of in a manner after probably giving even judgment on that particular process. But during the pendency of that complaint, it is always possible that you can withdraw the complaint. Sir, even in the courts, if you file a petition, the courts allow you to withdraw. Of course, you need to seek their permission. Here in this house, if I present a bill, I will seek the permission of the house, but then I can withdraw the bill. So I don't know why there should be a provision which does not allow, because complaint has to be taken. But for what? I decided to file a complaint. I realized that probably it was not the way it should have been filed, or the merit of that complaint I was not knowing at that particular time. Whatever could be the reason. But I think there is a need to also allow the withdrawal of complaint rather than saying this. Of course, there are provisions which is trying to bring in more coordination between the three bodies. I am told there is already a coordination between the three bodies. Of course, there is a reason to bring it. I only feel that when you decide the terms of reference of these coordination committees, which is going to be chaired by the Secretary of the Corporate Affairs Ministry, should be done in a way that we must realize that there are three distinct bodies dealing with three distinct functions, though related to main sector, corporate sector, but completely different functions. And that's why in the wisdom of this parliament, we decided to have three different bodies. We never, otherwise we could have made one single body. But we realized that there is need to have three different bodies. And when we have three different bodies, coordination is always a good idea, there is nothing wrong. But making sure that this coordination will happen in a way, keeping in mind the distinct identities as well as the different role of these individual professional bodies. I think that's something, if it is done properly, would really help in a very important way. I also feel that the removal of firms, I think, Madam Minister, I would like to just bring it to your attention, something which again is an important aspect. Ultimately, if you find that a particular professional member has not done a good job and it is finally concluded, so then the end will definitely happen in the removal of his membership, rightly so, because that's the ultimate punishment you can give. Because if you feel that he's not performing his professional duties rightly, what right he has got to continue to be a member, understandable. But there are instances, because we have multiple regulators in the country. There's a capital market regulator, SEBI. There is a banking regulator, Reserve Bank of India. There's an insurance regulator, IRDA. And there are multiple regulators, even for pension fund, we are regulators of different kinds. Suppose if one of the regulators, for whatever reason, points out that there is something wrong and this firm or this member is not done a correct job, you should not then jump to conclusion immediately to remove his name from the register of members. That is what might happen, and that is something which will be unfair and even denial of natural justice. And also, in what context other regulators, because we are now creating even a disciplinary committee here. So let the disciplinary committee deciding about it is understandable and logical. But because of certain adverse findings on some other context by other regulator or other bodies, not necessarily regulators as well, if we are going to finally terminate a membership, it will be very unfair. So I'm sure that is not her intention, and therefore I'm sure you will take note of this eventually. But I know it is not your intention, I'm just pointing out to you that what would be the situation as a result of that. But coming to the very important aspect, sir, this is a time that we have a great opportunity to bring about huge increase in our service exports. So luckily, I succeeded the finance minister as commerce industry minister, and I have known the good work that she had done, and I'm not sure I could carry forward such a good work as she did. But the huge potential for service exports, and our service exports will rise faster than merchandise exports over a period of time. And in service exports, one of the services that we can export in a significant way is this professional service which are coming from these three institutes. Whether chartered accountants, whether cost accountants, or whether company secretary institute and the members can actually bring about a huge increase in their export earnings and also create huge job opportunities. There are many possibilities that you can render these services offshore. Sir, this particular pandemic has shown that most of the work now is carried out from distant places. So just imagine in all these financial services, in auditing, in taxation. Auditing, of course, is a regulator subject because you have to do audit, you have to be registered in that particular jurisdiction. But otherwise, you can carry out such services in a very efficient way, remotely. And there offers a great opportunity for all these three professional bodies. So in that context, you must strengthen them, make them more effective, make them more efficient. And there are a number of young chartered accountants who are now wanting to be chartered accountants. despite the fact that they could see not a good chartered accountant like me, but still they want to become chartered accountant. And I know that this is possible, that we can create huge employment opportunities for these not millions, but few lakh chartered accountants or aspiring chartered accountants. And cost accountant, company secretary, the number will be higher. So I feel, realizing this, we should keep, I'm just going. So we'll really need to strengthen these professional bodies. I'm sure we'll take these appropriate measures along with this amendment that we are doing. We'll also work on ensuring that this potential that these particular 3 professional bodies hold will be exploited to the fullest. Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhu. The next speaker is Srimati Mausam Noor.
Thank you, sir. I rise today to oppose the Chartered Accounts, Cost and Works Accounts and Company Secretaries Amendment Bill. And I'd like to thank my party for giving me an opportunity to speak on this important bill. So let me begin by pointing out on behalf of All India Trinamool Congress that something fundamental has changed in how our parliament functions. While this particular bill has been scrutinized by the standing committee, the scrutiny percentage of bills in general has fallen. So in the 15 Lok Sabha, it was 71%. In the 16 Lok Sabha, it dropped to 25%. What is the number now? In the 17 Lok Sabha, as of December 2021, it was a dismal 13%. So my question is the government taking the parliament for granted? Sir, this government is not allowing the discussions on national issues which are affecting the masses, such as the burning issue of price rise. Bills such as these are important to ensure prevention of white-collar crimes and high-value fraud. But what about the loot happening to the common people today in the name of fuel price hike?
We are discussing cost and chartered accountant.
Burden on their livelihoods.
Speak on the bill. Speak on the bill.
Shameful that we as their elected representatives are prevented from speaking on it in Parliament. Sir, I would like to state the grounds on why I rise to oppose this bill. Sir, number one, this amendment bill proposes a radical change in the composition of the bodies which regulate the functioning of important members of the financial sector. This bill proposes the presiding officer of disciplinary boards formed be a government nominee and not a member of the institutes. In case an additional board is formed by any of the 3 committees, the presiding officer and one of the 2 members must not be members of the institute and will be chosen from a roster of people provided by the government. So not only does this allow for non-sector experts to influence the functioning of an industry-specific institute, but also gives the union government the power to interfere in the matters of a trade body. This is in direct contradiction to one of the government's favorite achievements, ease of doing business. What happened to the 2014 promise of minimum government and maximum governance? The inclusion of non-domain experts into the body and as the president is detrimental to both quality and morale. While there has been instances of accounting fraud, bringing in an outsider to regulate the sector may lead to situations where the outsider has no expertise and is unable to understand and suitably check fraud. So my second point would be the bill does not address the issue of ICAI whimsical censoring. Sir, in the recent past, ICAI has used the penal provisions to arbitrarily censor the content that some chartered accountants posted on social media. So the new bill does not address this issue. A suitable middle ground must be reached between the need to regulate by the government and prevent outreach by the members and the need for domain expertise in regulating such a technical field. In other technical institutions, such as the Bar Council of India too, the members are from the field. The government, however, seems to be making a habit of stepping into expert fields as it has done with the National Medical Commission. While government nominated members can provide requisite regulatory oversight, there must be a way of ensuring they are people with the necessary domain expertise. So the third point The bill provides for disclosure of pending complaints or actionable information against members and firms. Disclosing details of pending complaints before finding guilt may tarnish their professional reputation and goes against the first principles of grievance redressal, that complaints be evaluated and acted upon in a free and fair manner. Any premature disclosure is not only against the judicial decision-making process, but also an open invitation to unethical interference. We can't be living in a country where we shoot first and ask questions later. We live with the rule of law, where people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. This should apply in financial cases as much as in criminal cases. Sir, I would like to end with one last comment. The ICAI has criticized the Chartered Accounts Act 1949 for leaving the definition of other misconduct open-ended, calling this terminology vague. The present amendment does not address the ambiguity of this definition. If anything, the proposed changes widen the scope of said ambiguity, as any matter could easily be categorized as misconduct, and now the government's nominees are in the body to nudge it towards taking this interpretation. The absence of clearly defined parameters, coupled with the government's presence within the institute, could set a dangerous precedent for obscure and intrusive functioning. Sir, I conclude by asking the Centre, what really is the policy? Minimum government and maximum governance, or maximum government and zero governance? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next speaker is Sri P. Wilson.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Sir, I first of all thank that the bill is debated, because whenever a bill is passed without any debate, it is called as a black letter law. The Honorable Chief Justice of India has deprecated these types of practices, that bill being passed without any debate, and therefore I thank you, sir, for debating on this bill. Sir, this bill brings in amendments to 3 principal acts, namely the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, the Cost and Works Accountant Act 1959, the Company Secretaries Act 1980, and the major amendment is the revamping of the Board of Discipline and Disciplinary Committee under these acts. Sir, no doubt I would first of all appreciate Honorable Finance Minister that the intention is to finish the disciplinary proceedings in a time-bound manner. But in this amendment bill, there are a lot of infirmities which I would like to place before this august House. Sir, the bill seems to curtail the role of the professionals and the elected representatives of the governing council in each of the professional institutes, in the disciplinary bodies and in the disciplinary matters. Sir, first of all, I would say clause 21(8) says that you can't withdraw a complaint given to a body. Sir, my question is, how can you prevent a person from withdrawing the complaint? You can't compel a person to prosecute a complaint which is not interested in it. Therefore, sir, this is going against the well-settled legal principles. Sir, there are 2 disciplinary bodies, namely Board of Discipline, which acts as a disciplinary authority in case of misconducts falling under the first schedule, and is empowered to impose minor penalties like censure, temporary suspension up to 6 months, and fine of rupees 1 lakh, and which is now increased to 2 lakhs under the amendment bill. The other disciplinary authority, sir, is the disciplinary committee, which deals with the second schedule misconducts and is capable of imposing punishment not only restricted to censure, but permanent removal or removal for any specific period, and impose fine which may extend to 5 lakhs, which is now increased to 10 lakhs under the amendment bill. Sir, reading of clause 22 of the bill shows that the Board of Discipline constituted under the original section 21A is now substituted with a new provision wherein it is revamped. Earlier, the Board of Discipline had 3 members, wherein all of them could be the members of that institute of the same profession. Out of the 3 members, 2 would be nominated by the council, including the presiding officer, and 1 by the union government. Sir, in the amendment bill, the present Board of Discipline under clause 22 will have only 1 member nominated by the council, and other 2 members should not necessarily be the members belonging to the institute. Thus, the lay persons are brought inside this disciplinary committee. Sir, what they have to do with this professional body, sir, that too in disciplinary matters. Sir, the presiding officer of the Board of Discipline will now be a non-member. He is a lay person. Thus, the professional or the members of the institute is reduced to 1 in the Board of Discipline, which is empowered to impose minor punishment. Furthermore, the power to nominate the other 2 non-members is given to the central government, reducing the work of the council to the status of preparation of the panel alone. Under the amendment bill, the union government, by nominating 2 out of 3 persons, assumes the bureaucratic control over the Board of Discipline of all the 3 professional bodies of respective councils, and the Amendment Act enables the same. Sir, will it not compromise the independency of these professional bodies? What the central government has to do with these professional bodies? Honorable Union Minister has to explain with regard to this. Sir, insofar as clause 23 is concerned, it deals with the disciplinary committee. Sir, section 21B is now substituted with the new provisions. Under this clause, the elected president or a vice president of the council who was acting as the presiding officer are now removed from the disciplinary committee altogether, and the committee is now taken over by lay persons who are non-members of the councils. He will now be nominated by the central government, and he will be acting as a presiding officer. Apart from this non-member, there will be 2 other non-members nominated by the central government. By virtue of the amendment bill, council can only nominate 2 of its members. Thus, sir,
Conclude
out
now.
of 5
Conclude
members,
now.
sir, 2 minutes, sir. Thus, out of 5 members, only 2 members shall be the professionals, and other 3 will be the non-members, non-professional members who are lay persons nominated by the union government. Sir, on the contrary, in the Principal Act, all 5 members, including the president or vice president, shall be a professional and shall be the member of that institute. Thus, sir, the number of professional persons are reduced
Thank
in
you.
the disciplinary
Thank you,
committee.
Mr.
Sir,
Wilson.
2 minutes,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
2 minutes, sir. 2 minutes, sir.
No,
Sir,
no.
this discipline-
Your
1
time
minute,
is
sir.
over.
1 minute,
I have
I'll
given
finish.
you said
1 minute, sir.
2
I'll
minutes.
finish
I have
now.
given
I'll
2
conclude,
minutes
I'll conclude,
more.
sir.
Now you have no time.
I'll
Please
conclude,
conclude.
sir.
Please conclude.
Sir,
I'll call the
my
other
question is-
speaker.
Sir, my question is, how can a disciplinary body with a majority of members being lay persons nominated by the union government can deal with the allegations of the misconduct, which involves a high degree of technicalities owing to the profession? Why should the central government control these disciplinary bodies, and why is that the central government is
Thank
poking
you.
its nose into
Thank
these
you.
bodies?
The next speaker
Only
is
last,
Sujit
sir,
Kumar.
Last, sir, only one
Shri
point.
Sujit Kumar.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Your
Sir, 1
time is
minute. Sir,
over.
the-
Nothing will go on record now. I have called the next speaker. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Mr. Kumar. Please take your seat. Mr. Kumar.
Sir, I, on behalf of my party, Biju Janata Dal, stand to support the amendment bill, which has been brought to revamp the working of the 3 professional bodies. In a reply in LokSabha, the Honorable Finance Minister has asserted that this amendment bill will not infringe on the autonomy of these 3 institutes, and I have no reason to doubt her assertions. Rather, sir, I feel the amendments will make these 3 bodies more accountable and enable them to adopt global best practices, and also reform and speed up the disciplinary mechanism of these institutes. Sir, the disciplinary track record of at least one of these institutes, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, has come under the scanner in recent months, and no less than the Honorable Prime Minister has flagged it once at the time of launch of the GST. Sir, the statement of objects and reasons of the bill states that it seeks to address the conflict of interest between the administrative and the disciplinary arms of the institutes. To achieve this, the bill proposes to change the composition of the two disciplinary entities, the disciplinary board and the committee, to allow for more external representation. Sir, here I would like to very respectfully disagree with my former speakers, very erudite and very learned speakers, Suresh Prabhu ji, Honorable Member Hanumantia ji, and also Mr. P. Wilson, who have apprehensions that non-CS should not be members of the disciplinary committee, and they have argued how can such a technical subject as accountancy be understood by non-CAs. Sir, very respectfully, I disagree with them. This is akin to saying that only a chartered accountant is competent to understand matters of disciplinary proceedings. Because disciplinary proceedings by very nature are non-adversarial in nature, and they are based on the principles of natural justice. So, sir, if a doctor, if a person who is not a doctor can make a good health minister, if a person who is not an electrical engineer can make a good power minister, why can't a non-CA be part of the disciplinary committee? Because it's at the end of the day based on principles of natural justice. Sir, the bill also seeks to achieve speedy disposal of cases by providing for time-bound disposal of cases. Sir, the Parliamentary Standing Committee, which had deliberated this bill at length and applied its mind, has also supported the amendments. I will thank Honorable Suresh Prabhuji, because we had read in media that the ICAI had raised serious objections to the amendments, but he has clarified that it's not the case. But both ICSI and the Cost Accountants Institute do not have any objection. So the Parliamentary Committee also has suggested setting up of Indian Institutes of Accounting, IIAs, on the lines of the IITs and IIMs. Sir, I think it's an innovative idea which should be explored by the government, because it will end the ICAI's statutory monopoly over certification. It will also, sir, bring in greater competition and also greatly enhance the quality of accounting education in our country. I think this will also make the profession of accounting more inclusive, because more people can join IIAs if they are set up. Sir, the bill increases certain fines under the 3 acts. So now if a partner or an owner of a firm is found repeatedly indulging in some misconduct, then disciplinary action can be taken against the firm. Sir, another welcome step is to change the nomenclature of Cost and Work Accountants Act 1959 to Cost Accountants Act 1959, and also to rename the Institute of Cost and Works Accountant to Institute of Cost Accountants. Sir, I'm not sure why the word work was included in the first place, but anyway, it has been omitted now.
Please, Honourable Speaker, please wind up now. Please wind up.
Sir, I'm concluding. Sir, the firms can also now, firms must also now register with the institutes. Sir, this will enable the disciplinary mechanism also for the firms. Sir, I think, sir, these 3 acts were enacted decades ago, when the business and the corporate landscape of the country was much different and has transformed quite a bit now. So, sir, I think the need for this amendment is very much there, and also recent corporate events like the ILNFS case has put the profession of chartered accountancy under a serious scrutiny. So, sir, I think these amendments will certainly improve the administrative accountability and governance mechanism, and also help in the ease of doing business process, and also help, sir, in achieving India reach the target of the $5 trillion economy that we have been talking about. So I support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujit Kumar ji. The next speaker is Ayodhya Rami Reddy.
I believe this bill, the Chartered Accountants, Cost and Work Accountants and Company Secretary Bill 2021, is a blatant attempt to take away the autonomy of these 3 professional institutes. By bringing these amendments, the Centre is setting up a precedent that could negatively impact the independence of other professions as well. Sir, we have few objections on the proposed changes under this bill. Objection number 1, a non-standing committee under Section 17 of a similar nature already exists and measures should be made to make it more formal. Chairmanship by Secretary of Ministry will intrude on autonomy and independent decision making. But Ministry says that the standing committee has no specific terms and is informal. But this committee can be made formal. The other point is the discipline and disciplinary committee. The objection is a non-member will not have in-depth understanding of the accounting and auditing standards and practices. But I must tell my friend Sujit, where he was telling, see, there are business functions and there are support functions. To support business, I think the support functions like chartered accountants, cost and work accounts, and company secretary must have the basic knowledge at a leadership level as a minister or beyond, or a secretary. There it is different. Because there, somebody prepares the notes and everything for you. But here, you have to really get into the details. So for that, certainly business knowledge is essential to support, as a support, CAS and all, these are all support functions of the business. So I believe the in-depth knowledge and understanding is a must. So that one point that we have an objection on that. The conduct of professionals should be judged by professionals only, is what we believe. Then there are more chronic problems in judiciary. If you look at the government, by amending the CA bill, wants independence of adjudication of disciplinary proceedings, then this problem is more chronic in judicial system, which has more far-reaching consequences and even a threat to democracy. Judges are appointed by a group of judges, judges are transferred by a group of judges, and also promoted by a group of judges. And even framing of charges against an errant judge shall be done by judges according to Judges Enquiry Act 1968. So my submission is, the government is reforming the disciplinary committees of chartered accountants and also doctors, why not judges? Also till date, no judge of the High Court or the Supreme Court has been impeached. And even the CBI has to seek sanction of the concerned High Court if it has to proceed even against a retired judge. Where is the fairness here? Then coming back to the liability of firms for misconduct of partner. Clarity is needed on many issues. Repeatedly found guilty, not defined. If a person is a partner in more than one firm, whether all firms are liable, then if all partners of a single firm are found guilty of misconduct, but not repeatedly, will action be taken against the firm? Whether it is applicable in case of limited liability partnership, and if so, it would be unlawful to conduct whole firm or for misconduct. Action against entire firm will cause hardship to all other partners and employees who are faultless.
Please wind up.
Yeah, final, sir. Just similar way for suo motu proceedings. The bill disallows disciplinary directorate to make investigations to suo motu without any precondition of reason to believe. So this unfettered power can be abused for ulterior purposes. Disclosure of pending complaints. In the similar way, the bill provides for disclosure. This will harm the reputation of the person if tomorrow it comes to know that he is not found guilty. Member of disciplinary committee. Here also the disciplinary committee consists of external members who are nominated by central government. This disciplinary committee also has non-professional members. You need to look at. So
Thank you.
The conclusion, sir, as a business person who has the knowledge on chartered accountants, company secretary and cost account, I conclude by saying that the CA fraternity is being singled out, whereas other professions with even more glaring problems remain untouched.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. The next speaker is M. Thambuduraji.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir. As other members previously said, the persons who are not knowing a chartered accountant, whether they can deal all these things. Sir, I was also holding this ministry, company affairs, 98, 99. I am not a chartered accountant. But still I am the minister for this concerned department, I know that. At that time, I visited many conferences conducted by this Chartered Accountant Association and a